January 2024. And we'll bring you the news in a bit, as I always do. Right after that in the show, we'll have the news review. Today, development economist and senior lecturer at the University of Development Studies, Dr. Michael Ayamga, will be our guest to help us review the news. And then right after that, we get into the AM Sports. Now, we've got another edition of Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. You want to stay for that. After that, we'll get into the big stories. Now, the biggest stories this weekend will come from the MPP. Their parliamentary primaries of the governing New Patriotic Party. Now, the party is going to the polls to elect its parliamentary candidates for 2024 elections. We hear from the party later on in the show. We also hear from some of the aspirants on what their aspirations are, what their vision is. And then we will engage our correspondents who have been following the processes in their respective regions to bring you detailed insights on everything happening across the country. And then it's the grand finale of the Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Prize Challenge. Over 100 schools drawn from Ashanti, Eastern and Greater Accra regions are battle ready to showcase prototype products aimed at solving societal challenges. We had them on the show earlier this week, but details later on as they join us again today. And then we'll open the phone lines for you to have your say. I know that you haven't joined us in the course of the week, but today we'll try and open the phone line so that we take your views on everything happening on the show. Welcome to the AM show. My name is Cecilia, and I do this with Benjamin Akakbu. Let's settle now for the news. A warm welcome again to the AM show. Time now for the news. Now, some New Patriotic Party delegates in the Trimwa in Wabieja constituency are gearing up for Saturday's parliamentary primary. Say they will cast their ballots for a candidate who has touched their lives in the constituency. They believe any candidate who has been committed to the party and constituent will not feel threatened by the fear delegates' assertion. Here's a report by Clinton Yabua.
Over 776 New Patriotic Party delegates are expected to cast their ballots in Saturday's polls in the Atrimangwa-Abieja constituency in the Ashanti region. In the town hall engagement, a number of delegates from the 23 electoral areas endorsed the candidature of Frank Yeboah. The group of supporters believe aspirants who have exhibited their commitment to supporting delegates, the NPP and constituents of the constituency will be rewarded in the upcoming elections.
Yeah, fear delegate, but before you fear the delegate, what did you do for the delegate? What did you do for the delegate, my brother? So if you know you've done enough for the delegate, there's no way to fear the delegates. Yeah, but if you've not done anything, you just heard there's opportunity and then you just come trying to buy your way through, definitely you must fear the delegate. I look at his dedication to the party, his loyalty, and then the hard work he puts in the constituency. I'm a beneficiary of it, and then I believe he's the right man for the job right now.
Frank Yeboah has what it takes to be a leader. Looking at his track record, he has the seductive brilliance of a leader. You see around, everyone is a delegate. All those wearing the t-shirts are all delegates. So this shows the support and the love that the delegates have for Frank Yeboah.
Frank Yeboah, who is Acting Director of Procurement and Projects at the National Health Insurance Authority, is in his third contest for the seat. He is promising grassroots leadership and is positive of victory.
I served the party. I contributed to whatever the campaign that we did. 2020, I came again. Delegates said I should wait. So this is my time. And I believe that they are going to reward me come 27th of January. When it comes to lobbying, we have very, very bad road network. That one, I'll make sure that I do some lobbying to get it done as soon as possible. I also make sure that the youth that are unemployed, I'll institute what I call Club 100, where I'm going to bring more entrepreneurs to train them. There's going to be a mentorship program. That mentorship program will seek to address the unemployment problem we have in the constituency. When I lost in 2016, I did not go independent. I did not contest against the MPP. When I lost in 2020 as well, I helped the party, I helped the incumbent MP to win power. I had every right to go independent, but because it wasn't prudent, it wasn't good for the party, for a party member like me, a staunch member, to contest against MPP, I did not go. So if you consider those things, I feel that I stand tall.
Reporting for Joy News, Clinton.
Meanwhile, former Member of Parliament for Mencia North, Collins Owusu-Amankwa, says he remains loyal to the New Patriotic Party despite his open support for Alan Tremantin in the party's presidential primaries. The former MP is seeking a comeback to unseat the incumbent Akwesi Konedu. Collins Owusu-Amankwa is confident of winning the primary to garner more votes for the NPP in the 2024 general elections.
See, having known Alan way back 2004, I got to know him through New Patriotic Party. But the principle is that I, Collins Owusu-Amankwa, would always stand with the elephant symbol, so that my loyalty to this party cannot be compromised. My loyalty to New Patriotic Party, when these two loyalty miss, my loyalty to the party prevails. And that is the principle that I hold. Even if you look at our performances in terms of votes, I was able to garner almost 70% of popular votes during the 2016 general elections. And as we speak, it has dropped from almost 76% to 71% under the current MP. I think we need to be able to rescue this unfortunate dropping in terms of votes, so that we're able to prosecute a very effective campaign to be able to hit our target of securing 80% of votes for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia as our presidential candidate and my good self as parliamentary candidate.
Flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, is rallying the support of organized labor for the removal of Article 71 from Ghana's constitution. He says the existence of two sets of public workers contributes to the frequent agitation for improved conditions of service. Mr. Mahama believes the emolument of all government workers should be determined by a common body and emphasize the need to improve the economy. Nanaya Ojima was at an engagement with labor unions as part of the Building Ghana tour of the NDC and filed this report.
In recent times, agitation for enhanced remuneration by labor unions have heightened. The Ghana Association of University Administrators is set to join in the industrial action of their colleagues in the public universities from Monday. This is in demand for improved conditions of service. Already, the Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana has set a date to join in the strike of the Senior Staff Association of Public Universities.
We cannot compromise on condition of service matter.
Chairman of TEU Ghana at KNUST, Charles Arthur, wants the negotiations of salaries for university staff reverted to the Committee of Vice Chancellors.
Ghana Association of University Administrators, 29th Monday, we are going. I'm a member. We are going on strike. Yes. Number two, tertiary education workers union. We're also going. What do you call it? 1st February. Yeah, that's right. So why is it that it's happening this way? If you allow vice chancellors to do the negotiation, you will reduce to the barest minimum strike.
In a response, John Dramani Mahama said there is need to put all public workers on the same salary structure.
The first duty for any government is economic stability. When I was leaving office in 2016, the dollar to the cedi was 4 cedis. I don't know what your take-home pay was at that time, but probably if you compared it and the dollar had remained stable If today the dollar was around 6, and you're taking the salary you are taking, you probably will find that you are earning more than you have. And one of the points I've made is that a lot of you are angry because we have two sets of people, public workers in this country. We have Article 71 public workers, and we have fair wages public workers. And that is fair wages, public workers. And that is part of the problem. And so our solution is that let's form an independent emoluments commission that will take from the president, who is the highest public servant, to the ordinary laborer, and put all of us on the spine wherever we deserve to be. And so several times I've called for the support of organized labor to agitate so that we remove Article 71. We should all our emoluments should be determined together.
Meanwhile, the former president says the request of a honeymoon, if successful in a comeback, was misunderstood. Here is his explanation.
And the other time in Ho, I said something that people misunderstood, because I said that the economy is in crisis and we might come to meet after this government have left. We might find out that the situation is worse than we have even been told. And so I said, we must all prepare to make sacrifices. I said, we will reduce government expenditure. We would reduce the expenditure of the office of the president. We will reduce the number of ministers. We will reduce the number of ministries. Agencies that are duplicating each other will be merged. Those are the words I said. And so I said that we must all be prepared to sacrifice. I will sacrifice myself. The annoying thing is, when you are sacrificing and somebody else is loosening his belt, then you know there's a problem. And so all of us will, and I said that we will hold a century-like forum. Everybody will attend. We will show you the economic figures, show you what the economy has, so that we all understand.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Away from that, the Cooperative Council of Ghana is calling on political parties to incorporate them into their manifestos for the upcoming 2024 elections. Chairman of the Ghana Cooperative Council, Dr. Bingab, disclosed that government had historically overlooked the sector, significantly impacting its operations. He made this statement during the Sokodevi National Dialogue on Cooperative Development in Ghana. Jacqueline Ansoma-Yeboah has more in this report.
The interconnection of cooperatives in Ghana revolves around the focal point of cocoa. The colonial government introduced cooperatives in pursuit of enhancing cocoa quality, considering its significance as a major foreign exchange earner for the country. The chairman of Ghana Cooperatives Council, Dr. Bingab, emphasizes the integral role of cooperatives in society, urging the government to include them in sector-related decisions.
We are asking political parties to let us know what they have in their manifesto for the cooperative sector. As an advocacy group, we think that we have a role to play in this country. So we're throwing the challenge to all political parties to engage with the Ghana Cooperative Council. We have some scattered ideas that affect the cooperatives, but to talk about a specific space for the cooperatives, we haven't seen that. For example, the current government talks about inclusivity, trying to take everybody on board. They talk about revamping the Department of Cooperatives. That's fine. But in terms of our members, what is it that the political parties have to strengthen the cooperative structure right from the primary societies up to the apex body?
He further urges the government to consider tax exemptions for cooperatives, ensuring their full enforcement and utilization.
You cannot tax such self-help organizations. So they should look at it again. We actually have made a call to the government through our sector minister that this is really going to start for. If you recall, already we have had this financial sector cleanup where a lot of our funds from the credit unions have been locked up. So these are monies we haven't been able to retrieve. And then you come back to say you're talking about taxation. You just want to stifle them to death. That's what it means. So we need to see more of what the current government is doing to be able to support the cooperative sector.
The country director of Canadian NGO Cooperative, Nicholas Demers Labrousse, highlighted the importance of stakeholder engagement to merge diverse perspectives aiming for improved livelihoods for farmers.
It's important to have that kind of conversation between the stakeholder, the government instance, but also with the local producer, with the cocoa farmers, and also with the cooperative, with the VSLAs. And this is why we have that kind of national dialogue to make sure that we merge a different point of view and try to find some option, some solution, and some opportunities for the farmers to have a better living. We do some gender. We try to reduce the gender gap between the woman and the male in the cocoa sector.
Soko Devi actively contributes to the betterment of community living conditions by facilitating the formation and growth of sustainable, inclusive cooperatives in Ghana. For Joy News, I am Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
Now, the Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly, through the EU-funded Twin Cities in Sustainable Partnership project, in collaboration with Joy News' Operation Clean Your Surrounding campaign, on Thursday, inspected some households and commercial facilities. The unannounced visit to inspect the sanitary conditions of households and commercial facilities was part of efforts to make the city the cleanest assembly in the Western region. Correspondent Ina Natalia Kwanza has more in the following report.
The way I built in Ohono, wa crack. Eh? Ewa, jawa yede daw. Wo board na say wo tima abayeden.
Today's operation began in this house here at Sekondi Konfuase. The house, which belongs to a man whose identity has become a tussle for these tenants, has its excavator released in this gutter. This is a typical typhoid contributor, but these women are bent on defending their actions.
Building, you know, renovation now, yeah. Eh? Yeah, the one quarter when you scout do draw betria. No. Na toilet no if you were no toilet no guma. Na toilet no. Nto no mo akwenya. Do fe begba. Nti bebi apart the means the means abo kwashifa. Antifia. Na so obi obaso no antifia na sa pa. Oboy wana so no wana wa course. Messi. No, Ewa. Young phone call na catch your court there.
They were cautioned by the task force and asked to provide their landlord before their next visit. From there, the task force went to a corn mill facility. Over here, the place was in a total mess. Flies all over, dirty corn, palm, and granite milling machines. The gutter which the facility sits on was filled with refuse. Coupled with this is an expired medical report used by the operator.
The structure is ours, but
you don't clean the place. We'll take it from you.
By the end of this today, we will make sure that.
By the end of today.
Yes.
So
tomorrow,
which counts the way you see? Na cleaning aspect. A form to there form or clean. Eh? Or there you clean. Na ebia and the task it's very filthy. You are killing people softly.
Today, at the end of
today, you clean it, we'll come back and look at it. Let's go.
The unannounced visit took the task force to a restaurant, 2 places of convenience, some temporal structures. Metropolitan Environmental Health Officer Abdul Karim Wudu, who led the task force, speaks on the nuisance.
There are a lot of nuisances. Let me start with the public toilet. We have gone to the Konfuase Sekondi public toilet. That's where we are standing. The place is very bad. If you go inside, washing hand basins are all destroyed. The floor, there are no tiles. And the squatting holes are all spoiled with the tiles. Yes, when you come outside, the surroundings, they have dislodged toilets onto the ground illegally, which can bring many communicable diseases like the typhoid fever that we have been talking about. This can bring about cholera outbreak in Sekendi town, the Sekendi lorry station. That is where the public toilet is. If you go to the other public toilet, it's the same. It's similar. They have connected the effluent into a public drain. That is, they are all against our rules and regulations.
He says their next visit will ensure they are prosecuted or fined.
Today, we have cautioned them, and then we didn't do anything to them. Next time when we come, the fines, either we'll take spot fine or we'll prosecute them from 100 penalty unit to 250 penalty unit, which means that if you get any nuisance there, you can pay up to 3,000. That is 100 penalty unit in court. Our spot fine will range from 200 to 1,000 cedis.
For Joy News, in Athalia Kwanza, Sekunde, Western Region.
And that will be all for the news. Please stay for the news review. Development economist and senior lecturer at the University of Development Studies, Dr. Michael Ayamga, is our guest. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back on the AM show with me, Sweetie Abochi. It's time now for the news review. As I mentioned earlier, development economist and senior lecturer at the University for Development Studies, Dr. Michael Ayamga, is our guest. Doctor, it's a pleasure to have you here. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Before we get into the newspapers, I would like to pick your thoughts. What do you make of the OSP's announcement yesterday that Cecilia Dape's frozen accounts and monies be returned to her? What do you make of the situation?
Yeah, it was disappointing, but not unexpected, given that has been a consistent trend with the OSP, judging from Mr. AJ's issue with the contracts for sale that was uncovered by the Third Estate and your own network. A whole number of issues. And then this one too, you expected that at least there was some smoking gun in the sense that somebody had money from his house from unexplained sources, including those of dead relatives and all those things. Any of us with that kind of money under our best will still be under the full rigors of the law. I'm particularly getting disappointed that there is a consistent pattern of the OSP going after small fishes in the pond, prosecuting them, and then allowing the so-called big guys to get away with blatant thievery. So I have always maintained that he seems to be doing the work of an attorney for these accused persons rather than maybe trying to prosecute them. It is surprising that a lawyer of his standing didn't know that he should have brought on Iyoko even from the start, given that this was some kind of organized crime going on. I'm surprised at the charges he filed that were basically dismissed. And I'm also now worried that this case is not going to go anywhere like the La Bianca case, the AJ case, and so on. So it has become a trademark of the OSP, and I've already called that. I think it's a needless duplication of our effort. The other office should be scrapped so that we know that we're going to be dependent on the Attorney General for some of these things, and also our investigative bodies. If IOCO has to do this, and maybe the NIB have to be doing this, what is the use of the OSP then? That is the question I want to ask. If the OSP can get these things done, why should it exist? Earlier on, many of us had raised questions why we needed the office of the special prosecutor when we had all these agencies, including SRAJ and the rest, that if they were properly empowered and properly resourced, they could handle cases like this. The last minute resort to IOCO to investigate something that is so blatant underscores the lack of merit for the existence of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So I think that, yes, if IOCO has to do it, then we shouldn't have the Special Prosecutor.
Well, yesterday I was listening to him, and it was interesting that he says the day we lose faith in that office is the day the soul of the country dies, and that after 7 months, they spent that 7 months to do extensive research, and it was based on all that investigation that they have concluded that they are not legally empowered to, handle the case. But anyway, do you have the newspapers with you, or do I? Okay, so let's get into the newspapers now. I have the Daily Guide. Let's look at the headlines. It says, Ghana offers free visa to Africans. Processes underway. That is according to President Akufo-Addo. When you go in later, it says, Blinken bolsters West African security partnerships. Another headline says, attacks in Nigeria. States leave at least 30 dead. I'm just going to do the headlines before we get into the main stories, and then I'll pick your thoughts on that. Okay, then to the Daily Guide paper now. The front page, we have Cecilia Dapa's case. Return Cecilia Dapa's money in 72 hours. Court orders OSP. Policeman dies in Galamsey operation. That's an interesting story there. And then Ashanti Gold UK to loan back Ghana's looted crown jewels. And not to the country, but to the Ashanti Kingdom. So we'll get into that also later. We also have Africa must develop strategies for change, according to Nana Akufo-Addo. In the Finder, we say step up value addition to generate prosperity to Africa. That's also according to Akufo-Addo. The story is on page 2. And then ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development unveils 2024 Investment Forum. There's also positive impact of IMF bailout on public will be gradual, according to Dr. Dumaya. And then in the world of sports, the Sports Ministry announces a strategic plan to revive the Black Stars. That's also a story we'll get into shortly. And then the Kolebu Teaching Hospital hold mass burial for unidentified bodies. Doctor, let's begin with Ghana's offer of free visa to Africans. Now, to get into the story, Ghana has started a process to ensure that all Africans entering the country's borders do so visa-free, President Akufo-Addo has said. Now, the move, which would be implemented before the end of the year, is geared towards ensuring easy movement of goods, services, and people within the continent to foster continental free trade area. That is the AfCFTA. Let's get into that. Let's continue that story from page 3 now. Now, the 3-day business and policy dialogue, which has attracted representatives of heads of state and government and policymakers, as well as leaders of business and industry, has been described as an excellent initiative aimed at facilitating dialogue towards the AfCFTA initiative. It also provides a unique platform dedicated to mobilizing Africa's energetic private sector to own and drive the benefits of AfCFTA present. The story goes on to say that the continent is also endowed with the most youthful population, the president added, and he explained that it requires collective responsibility to turn prospects into productivity, and that code project generates prosperity for the people. The President Akufo-Addo also expressed delight that Africa's private sector was ready, deliberate, and eager to ensure that the United African was attained adding that it was time to focus on economic integration through the free movement of people, goods and services. Dr. Yamga, what are your thoughts on this issue, on Ghana offering free visa to Africans under the AfCFTA agreement?
Yes, this is something you have to commend the president on. You would notice that many have been calling for this. We seem to find it easy to go to Europe than to travel within Africa. And if Ghana, one of the first countries out of Sahara to gain independence, is providing the leadership in this again, I think it's in the right direction. We should have done that earlier on and make sure that at least we also work hard to improve connectivity between Africa and West African states. And I have been saying that if you, for example, want to take a flight to Europe, you can get a flight straight to Amsterdam to most destinations in Africa. You want to go to some countries and you have to hop through 3-4 countries before you can go there by flight. So a 20-hour journey sometimes takes a whole day. So not only do we have to open up a visa entry requirements, we need to also work hard to improve our aviation and connectivity between African countries. It is one of the key ways to lessen our dependence on foreign countries, especially in the West, for some aid. I believe that if we improve intra-African trade, we are going to significantly put our destiny in our own hands. And some of these gradings, ratings, and so on and so forth, being shut out of capital markets and other things, may not have that telling impact on us like it is having now. If we were basically working within ourselves and creating the economic conditions that allow us to trade among ourselves and improve our products, I believe that we could significantly enhance economic growth in the continent. So I want to commend the president for taking the bold initiative. These things normally is a wait and see who does it first. I hope that there is some reciprocity here so that countries that will allow him to come into our country without visas should also do the same for Ghanaians. South Africa started recently. Most of West Africa, almost all, you have that free entry. In the Eastern African bloc, at least, we've traveled virtually to almost all the Eastern African countries without visa. So, and I'm happy that we are taking this initiative to extend it. It has become problematic, especially when you have some countries that are hosting very important entities and organizations in Africa still having visa requirements. You want to go to a place where the headquarters of the AU is housed and other things, and there are some difficulties when you get there in getting visa. It makes mockery of the call for African Union. So I agree perfectly with that this is a best move, good leadership.
All right, before we continue with the papers, tomorrow the national ruling New Patriotic Party goes to the polls. And some party loyals are saying that this is a make or break for them because in 2016 they had majority of seats and then they went in 2020 and they tied with NDC until an independent candidate aligned with them, which gave them the majority. What do you make of, what is your general overview of tomorrow's elections?
The first thing is that it's good for our democracy. We are still going to have primaries where you have certain MPs. And yes, we have seen some move to get some people to go unopposed and other things. And even though publicly you have had the announcements that people are going unopposed, grapevine news, and then also open anger by people who have been coerced to step down and so forth has taken place. And I still think that shows we still have some distance to go. It's not only MPP, other parties have similar issues. But I think that particularly for MPP, they are going into these elections on the back foot with a lot of headwinds. So if they do anything that weakens their parliamentary candidates further, they are going to be in for it. As you rightly stated, they are in parliament with a majority that disappears with just one member not coming to parliament. And that is a serious case here. The last election was seen as an indictment on the leadership of the president and his vice. And it is worrying to see some of the trends that are coming in constituencies, especially in areas like Bimbila and the rest, where you have a lot of jostling going on. One thing you need to keep in mind is that this is a lame duck period. You have a new leader of the MPP in waiting, and you still have a sitting president. Allegiances are shifting. People are feeling that, okay, the president is a spent force now. How do I project myself to become relevant in the next dispensation? Should there be one? And then there's also the issue of people seeing the writings on the wall and thinking that, hey, we may go to opposition, so we are going to face some lean period there. Can I get myself into parliament and maybe hibernate there whilst we are in opposition? And then there are others who think that they are about people, about a group of guys who are not in parliament, so we need to replace people who are loyal to the sitting president. So because of that, there's intense jostling, there's intense campaigns for the seats. So I expect it to go down without incident, but we should look for surprises. We should expect them because not only are people dissatisfied with the president, they are dissatisfied with a good number of the MPs, and it is only in the interest of the MPP to allow people people to emerge rather than impose people by backdoor maneuvers. Yeah.
Well, we'll be there to cover and bring you all the details tomorrow, so stay tuned to join us. Doc, now let's go to the story in the Daily Guide where the Asante Gold, UK, is loaning back Ghana's looted crown jewels. It says, the story is on page 5, the UK is sending some of Ghana's crown jewels back home 150 years after looting them from the courts of the Asante king. What do you make of that situation?
Yes, I think that returning these artifacts are long overdue. And it's not only that, I think across Africa, stories of how many of our artifacts, our history, were taken from the museums and the places of abode to Europe and particularly to the Great Britain. So returning this is just a gesture. We are also hoping that this will lead to some more effort to ensure that the economic imbalance created by colonialism is also righted. Restitution is very important here. You can't expect that for a significant part of the history of these countries, our resources were unjustly taken away to develop the center, while the periphery continue to extract and just dump it there. So not only are the artifacts the most important thing, I think that there should be concrete discourse towards compensating African countries for the resources that have been unjustly taken to develop the big center. So yes, it's better late than never. You go to Europe and you see a lot of African history there. You are wondering why these things are there. What are these things doing? And no matter how they try to embellish the stories and to make them look like they are preserving them, they are keeping them for posterity, it is plain slavery and thievery. These things belong to the people of Africa. It's our history, it's our heritage. And there is no justification for keeping them anywhere in the world apart from those who own them. So I think that is a good move, but it should go beyond just artifacts to a concrete measure to ensure that there's some form of economic restitution. Because, to be honest, what was taken away from Africa, if we had it, I believe that it would have changed our continent from and many people normally say that we shouldn't dwell on the issues of slavery, we shouldn't dwell on colonialism. But the issue is that after these things, some systems have emerged that has continued to ensure that we are not out of the grips of these dents in our history. And we should work towards getting everything back, many of the artifacts, much of our history, and also some economic restitution.
What I find interesting is the wording of this story. It says it is loaning the artifacts to us, not returning them. So it's in a way admitting that it belongs to the UK and not us, something that was taken from us. They're now loaning it just for, to put in our museums and that. And I'm afraid that if it's a loan, whoever is taking these artifacts or whoever is in charge of taking them back or taking this loan might be forced to acquiesce to the demands of these former colonizers. What do you think?
No, I think the terminology there is some way of keeping ownership of these things, trying to control who gets to pay to see them, trying to limit how we use them and where we put them. And it just underscores the unjust world order that we are in, the double standards we are experiencing. At one point in time, people are advocating for the rights of certain people, and yet when it comes other people, you tend to overplay your economic dominance and your might as developed countries. How do you back something to people that own it? That is something that my imagination. As far as we are concerned, there's nothing that shows that you bought it from us or we gave it to you. These were forcefully taken, and not only should these things be returning with an apology, they should be returning with some compensation to tell us that you are loaning them. It doesn't matter the language of that industry. It's still a slap on our backs, and I think that it just underscores the current global order that we are living in.
Well, thank you for that submission. Now, let's move on to the issue of Galamsey. A policeman has died. Now, the story is on page 3 of the Daily Guide. A police constable identified as Prince Amoa met his untimely death last Tuesday when the police vehicle he was on board with other policemen fell into a Galamsey pit during an alleged anti-Galamsey operation. On the topic of Galamsey, do you think we are doing enough, or is just talk shop? They're just saying that we are going to do things to curtail the issue, or, it's just something that is here to stay?
You don't want me to say
go ahead.
I have been very blunt, and I don't like this talk shows that we are doing about Galamsey. We know that the kingpin of Galamsey are in government. They are proposing, and military there are there protecting them. If you come from Galamsey, places like I come from in the Upper East region, you will notice that where the activity is intense, you have military and police there. And what they are doing is actually providing protection for people who are busily destroying our environment and extracting gold in the most unhealthy and unhygienic conditions you can think of. People who don't actually understand that apart from the gold being taken, the environment being degraded, they are creating a next generation of homeless and uneducated people. If you go to some of these gold mining areas, especially after they have moved on, you have kids there who don't know their parents, you have women there who don't know where their husbands are, and so on. So you have a whole community that is not indigenous to the people there. It was just a community that emerged because of the mining, and after they are gone, you have people still living there, nowhere to go, no measures to give them security. So that is one problem. Then the police, you see, most of the time are there, not going after these people. And sometimes when they go after them and you get them, some things change hands and then they go. So much as it's regrettable that our men in uniform have to die in activities like this in the line of duty, and I must say that I extend my sympathies to the bereaved family. We must state this thing as clear as it needs to be said, that you can't have a kingpin sitting in the ministry and expect the policeman taking orders, going into the communities and making an impact. It is a very serious situation. You have a network of politicians, traditional authorities, and local gangs now running these things. And one thing people don't know is that anytime you have a proliferation of these gold mining sites, it comes with guns, and the proliferations of guns also is leading to some unexplained violence.
Yeah.
Particularly in the Upper East region now, there are so many guns in the system because people are buying them. Somebody is keeping gold, he feels threatened, he just buys the gun, and they are keeping them. You get to the Galamsey side, and you see people openly displaying weapons that are not registered. You have military men and policemen there who don't seize them. And once in a while, they launch this charade that they are on an operation. I don't think that we are helping anybody. The earlier we discuss these things and the more honestly and more frankly, the better it is for us. We are not fighting Galamsey. We are just managing it and then trying to make it look good in the eyes of Ghanaians and in the eyes of the international community. But serious crime goes down there. And it's sad that some policemen who may be taking orders from people who are sitting in their offices and enriching themselves have to die in this course.
What I'm curious about is what the police was actually doing there, because we've heard stories of police involvement in, actually helping propel this menace that's plaguing our country. Anyway, Doctor, let's move on to what could be our last story. Nana Akufo-Addo grants KPMG's SML audit an extension. This is also from the Daily Guide newspaper. President Akufo-Addo has granted KPMG's request for an audit extension on the transaction involving the Ghana Revenue Authority and Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited. The audit and tax services firm was initially giving up to Tuesday, January 16th, to complete its inquiry into the GRA and SML deal. But now it has up to Friday, February 23rd, to submit its report to the presidency. What do you think is taking them so long to conclude on this matter, Doc?
Yeah, I didn't think they should come in the first place. I thought that the decision to employ KPMG, who happens to be a client of the Ghana Revenue Authority, was some kind of effort to try to sweep the damning revelations under the carpet. And you see, we are looking at things that border on criminality and corruption. Instead of us having a constitutionally mandated body to do this investigation, the president has come the gun to more or less rule that there is nothing untoward about it. There's no malfeasance. It is an auditing issue, and you go and bring a KPMG. So I think that the president's efforts are not going to help us uncover anything, because this is an auditing firm. It's going to do auditing. But we are talking of serious criminality here. We are talking of a breed of procurement protocols here. These are Ghanaian laws that have been broken. And I felt that legally mandated Ghanaian entities should have been involved in the investigation. If not Yoko, Shrag, or even the Office of the Special Prosecutor, at least would have gone there to do a few months and then clear everybody. But to put in KPMG and extend them, I don't think that it's going to come out with something apart from there is nothing that was done. It was just a few clerical and issues, some I's not dotted, some T's not done, but there's no malfeasance. That is the stage the president is setting. And I think it is rather unfortunate that we chose to go with the KPMG instead of getting some of our law enforcement
like
crime,
the Auditor General even. Yeah.
This is not something that I expect anything meaningful to come out of.
We all know that there's some conflicts of interest there as well, because KPMG and GRA and the government even are all in bed. They have contracts that, have spanned over years. So however they orchestrate that, we're looking forward to see what the final report will will bring. So now in the Finder, the publisher, the Ghanaian publisher, there's a story about ECG MD allaying fears over electricity tax. Ghanaians say we are tired of the taxes. Let's see what the story says. The Electricity Company of Ghana has clarified that the new value-added tax on electricity consumers beyond the lifeline threshold is not being charged yet, which means it will still, there's still then, the possibility of it happening. But the ECG and the Northern Electricity Distribution Company on January 1st were direct. Yeah, this is just the background to the story. Speaking to one of the media houses, the managing director of ECG, Mr. Dubik Mahama, acknowledged that there are legal and operational challenges associated with the implementation of the tax. And so, although it is not yet in motion, there's the possibility of that happening. Dr. Ayamga, the issue of taxing electricity, most Ghanaians are saying that the government is taking a lot of money from us, but they're doing not nearly enough that they can do with these monies. And then the issue of tax above a certain line. What's your opinion on this? Saying that it is not yet in motion, and so our fears we should rest assured. But the use of the word yet seems to indicate that whether we like it or not, this is something that will happen. And some CSOs have actually defended that it's a government instrument. It's embedded in our constitution that we are supposed to pay tax on electricity.
Yeah, it is surprising to me as an economist to see that government is going to tax electricity, given that the cost of production everywhere has gone up. And it is at the IMF looking for money to help us revamp our production, especially at the micro and enterprise level. And you are trying to tax electricity even at domestic consumption. And what it's going to do is to increase the cost of doing business for these small businesses. These women selling soap below, people selling water and other things. All these things are going to go up. So these taxes are not geared towards people who earn money and don't pay taxes. These are people who are actually living hand to mouth daily on the roadside looking for what they can earn to be able to put food on the table. These are the people these taxes are going after. And I think that it is unfortunate. It doesn't make economic sense at this point in time when you should be giving incentives for small businesses to grow. You are taxing them, increasing the cost of production. Everyone you ask on the streets now, every business is looking for an opportunity to go to Dubai and buy something and sell in Ghana. So you have virtually killed domestic production and manufacturing, and yet you expect that you are going to revamp the economy. Apart from that, the hardship. I passed through some homes now, and they put only one light on and the rest of the places off because they cannot afford electricity. So people are already not being adequately served in terms of the electricity. They are rationing it to the point that they can barely put the bulb on. So to increase it was insensitive in terms of livelihoods of people, and then also not a smart economic policy, given that we need to boost domestic production, create revenues and profits so that we can tax. But I understand the government was desperate to show the IMF that it could improve our tax to expenditure tax to GDP, and then also getting our external creditors to believe that we are doing enough in the domestic front to warrant some agreement in our debt negotiation. And it worked. So even if we are forced by the TUC to withdraw it, which I expect is going to happen, if they don't withdraw it...
You think they will withdraw this tax?
Of course, we all know the Trade Union Congress have given them an ultimatum to withdraw it. I'm wondering why they had to wait till this time. But if it was just to get the IMF to give us the money before they take that action, smart move on their part. But I think that tax will be withdrawn. It will not see the light of the day because it doesn't make sense why we should be going to that level of taxing even households for electricity consumption.
The basic necessary.
It's a necessity now. It's not a luxury. I've been saying that for years now. The temperature has been increasing in northern Ghana now. you can virtually not live anywhere without a fan being on. So even in the rural households that they only used electricity to light one bulb at night, now they need fans and all those things. If they put these things on, they are going to exceed the threshold that we have set, and you're going to tax them. And you are not taxing a wealthy household, you are taxing a very poor household, a house struggling to put food on the table. And I don't think that for arguments of inclusive development, tackling inequality, and creating vibrant rural industries, this is the best way to go. We are talking of probably a government that has lost all control of the economy. And the economy is on autopilot and is just looking at where it can get a tax here, a tax there, and go on. No incentive for businesses, no incentive for investors, and more taxes. It is a very dire situation and a depressing country to live in.
I spoke with a member of parliament for Anya, Soto Manya constituency some time ago, and he said that it is something that has happened, so it's better that we all just share a little to keep the lights on. And my question was, how did we even get here in the first place? How did we come by such economic woes that the government has no option than to tax its citizens for the use of electricity in order to, settle its debts or, have a good face in front of our creditors? Anyway.
I think that, we all know how we got here. We borrowed ourselves deep into it, and we didn't use money. We wasted it in sectors that didn't actually enhance our productivity. And others kept the money under their beds, and they are made to work. And at the end of the day, we have to pay for it. If I'm paying for electricity, yes, I don't mind. I'm using it. I'm middle class. Maybe I need to contribute my quota, which I've been doing overly, and paying my fair share of taxes. But to go to this extent of burdening small businesses, and where I come from, the community I live, every person what they pay in electricity affects profit, affects the business, and they may not be able to feed their children and send their kids to school. So I don't want us to think that it is people trying to resist taxes. I don't think that the people who are telling them impose these taxes and so on and so forth have taxes at this level. The point that very poor households now have to face the choice between sleeping in darkness, not having a livelihood, or paying tax. It is taking us back to the pre-Rawlings era, before Rawlings, out of his vision for creating a vibrant rural sector, sent electricity throughout Ghana. And I remember people at a certain point in time were arguing why he was spending so much to extend electricity to rural areas. Though that activity has meant that rural industries and rural areas have seen significant development. And the only thing they could have done is to at least keep the lights on in the house of the poor. What the president is doing is taking food off the table of poor people and putting off their lights so that they have to go to bed hungry, early, and in darkness.
I think all this just speaks to, what we were calling the dead goat syndrome. No matter how loud we cry, it doesn't seem like government is interested in hearing what we, the citizens, have to say, or show some empathy towards what they're doing to us that's impoverishing the country and the citizens. Now, on the issue of what is working in Ghana, let's talk about football, AFCON, Black Stars. The sports ministry is saying that they want to diagnose Ghana's early exit. I don't know what's there to diagnose. Anyway, for context, young people like myself, for nearly over 40 years, we've never actually seen a Black Stars win any African Cup of Nations or any tournament for that matter. Meanwhile, Ghana Black Stars was a name to contend with. That was a whole lifetime ago. And now we are here, and the ministry is saying that they want to diagnose what caused the early exit. I'm interested to know what you think about this. What's there to diagnose?
I don't think the ministry has to do it. I think that what we need are new faces in football that everybody trusts. I'm into football. I'm not a newcomer. I just chose to stay on the fringes. And mostly I speak with these players. I remember I was coming from Amsterdam and there were 4 Black Stars players there. One of them is a hero of my kid. He's been sending him videos. So I got to him and we were chatting. And these were people who were coming on national duty. They were coming to play a match. I think it's either Cape Verde or Comoros. And they were like, normally, they just come and then they are risking their careers and trying to end their livelihood should something go wrong. And people are just there taking fat allowances and taking girls to hotels on the back of their sweats. And what they were saying, well, I just asked myself, these are people who are in a plane on the way to play a game for Ghana, already having this thing at the back of their minds. What do you think is going to happen? And you can understand, I cannot come to camp and any wrong move I make may end my career. And for every Black Star player, you have a huge entourage of people. And when they are even in camp with these guys, they so indiscreet that the vulgar display of the monies that the sports ministry is allocating for tournaments is disheartening. And you talk to players and they tell you that honestly, they come in because there are ramifications if you don't come back. They are not coming in to take the risk that they should take. So I believe that we need a thorough inquisition of why we have some of the best players. Can you imagine Inaki scoring against Barcelona of all teams, my team for that matter, and coming to Ghana and then he is a pale shadow of himself. And also some of the things here, and I'm going to say it here, I know some people will not be happy, but they had a Black Stars technical team. One who was Chris Hutton, the second was Borton, and then Didi Dramani. Now there are some news going around that Chris Hutton more or less was the stranger in the group of 3. The rest were well embedded within the circles of the GFA. And you can imagine having your assistants who probably have the ear of the president of the association, or for want of a better word, who have the president in their pocket. So you have to imagine who will do whose bidding. And it's unfortunate that Chris Hutton found himself in that arrangement. But all we need to do is that when we are going for tournament, we need to project some integrity. When the Black Stars see people walking around them as managers, they need to see sacrifice, they need to see integrity, they need to see honesty. You can't be doing things that are transactional in the presence of these players, and then you expect that when they go to the field of play, they should put in all the tackles, take the risk for the country, when they know that some people are in there just to line their pockets and benefit. So I believe that our game goes beyond the issues of just training and identifying the right players and the coaches. There are systemic issues that we need to be honest and we need to deal with. And it's unfortunate that my good friend Kurt has to find himself in this water. But I have been saying he has nothing to lose. He's in the second term of his office. His legacy is important. I think that he needs to let down the hammer, offend a few people, and put in at least a plan to revive our national team. Let's forget of the next 2-3 AFCONs, and then get a coach, give him a 10-year mandate to rebrand our football. Apart from that, let's do some serious inquisition of why our players score for their teams, play very good football for their teams, but when they arrive in Ghana, they are something else. I was watching the game and it was disheartening. Inaki Williams was in pole position to score. Jordan decided to still take a touch. And when his brother entered in there, he decided to start whipping process prematurely. What are you trying to show? This is a national team. You win and lose together. Why do you go in there and you think that you have a certain image to protect? It's your father that won a trophy, not yourselves. And I got really furious with some of these. Who are we begging? I believe that they need people like us in front of these guys to tell them that you can go to hell if you don't want to play for the national team. I think we beg them too much and we fear losing So we pamper these people and they control us. I think that a church should be able to walk into that room and fear enters these players. When we were young people, that is what happened when coaches entered, when the president of the GFA visited the team. When even the sitting president or the minister of finance goes into there is discipline because they know these were people who embodied productivity and integrity. But we fear losing so much that we almost allow these people to trample on us. I want to see a GFA president who is not afraid of losing games, going to these guys and letting them know that they are in a privileged position. It's a privilege to have your name go down in history. And when you enter camp, we are not coming to beg you to play. If you don't want, get the hell out of it. And when we lose, we lose.
You know, in my opinion, if I was a betting woman, I would have said that if we had gathered some 20 guys from Nima back here to go and play for Ghana Black Stars in this AFCON, we would have been in the tournament still and we'll come back with the trophy because they'll be playing for something, you know. They are not comfortable. But thank you. That's all that time will allow us to get into today. Dr. Michael Ayamga is a development economist and senior lecturer at the University for Development Studies, and he was our guest for the news review. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much, Doctor. Now, up next, we continue from sports. We have another edition of Prime Take with Fentino, who speaks with Ben Nuno Mensah, president of Ghana Olympic Committee. Stay for that. We'll be back shortly.
Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of Prime Take on the Joy News channel. My name is Fentio. Today we will have a very special conversation with the Ghana Olympic Committee President, Mr. Ben Nuno Mensah. As you're aware, 2024 is a big year for Ghana Olympic sport. Apart from the fact that there is the big Olympic Games in August of this year, there is also, before that, the small matter of the African Games, which Ghana will be hosting, and of course will be participating in 24 different disciplines. And the man that is overseeing every single one of those Olympic sports is my guest today on the show, Mr. Ben Nuno Mensah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it's good to have you. It's good to see you. You're looking good. Looking well.
We try.
Yeah, we thank Allah. Even before anything else, you have been Olympic Committee President now. I think you're in your 7th year.
From 2016.
Yeah, as you came into power in 2017. I mean, when you look back at that tenure, what does your mind tell you? What is your impression of your tenure in those last 7 years?
Well, I think it's been good. I can't say it hasn't come with the usual challenges that sports administrators face. The biggest of it, being when people start doing elections immediately after an election. That kind of draws us back, because then the focus of quite a number of people is not how to develop the sports, but how to work to bring down those who are in administration. That's one of the challenges. But I think on the whole, in spite of all these challenges, it's been wonderful. Before I became the president of the NOC, national federations didn't feature much on the NOC calendar by way of our sponsorship and funding to them. But since 2016, it's changed to the point that when a few are not getting, then it's news, it's topical. But many of them forget that before 2016, it wasn't something that really featured. From 2016, I make sure that whatever funding we can access from the IOC, from our sponsors, so we can support the National Federation. I think that is something that has changed the way our national federations are viewed. You also notice that now there's a lot more talk about weightlifting, boxing, badminton, tennis, unlike before 2016. So what it means that the so-called least financed sports now get a lot of media at the time now get a lot of visibility. What we did was we appointed media attaches for all these disciplines. So that kind of changed their presence within the media landscape. In the past, it was just football. Everybody talked about football, and nobody cared about the other disciplines. So those are the very, very few things that for now, I'll say that we've changed in the sports landscape, which I think that as GOC, we're very proud about that.
I'll ask you about specific things that have happened during your tenure. But if I ask you a more generic question, like, of all the things that you've done since you came into power, what are you most proud of? What would you say it is?
Well, on the very light side, we, after a very long battle, we got the property that houses the GOC, named Olympic House.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and I said that on the light side because it was something that should have been done way back in 2011.
This is your headquarters, you mean?
Exactly. At
Ridge?
At Ridge.
Okay.
You know, we have the property there, which has been given to the GOC by the government, you know, during KNOUS's time. The government at that time approached us in 2009, 2010, that they'll pull down our building, and then they're going to put up a high rise. And when that is done, we're going to get the first floor of that high rise. And then also that building was going to be named Olympic House. You know, the first part of the agreement was done. We got the first floor, which is where the GOC works from. But it was never named Olympic House until recently when I started engaging the Ministry of Works and Housing again. Finally, it's been named Olympic House. The other thing of significance is that after so many years of GOC claiming that we own the Amasama land, it wasn't actually ours. It was never on paper given to us. We finally got the Lands Commission to give that parcel of land and issue a certificate in the name of the Ghana Olympic Committee. So those two issues, I mean, one on the lighter side and the other one on a more serious note, you know, because that is a huge stadium. And currently we've finished the football field, you know, we're also doing the running tracks around it. There's a multi-purpose court that is being done now. There's also a tennis court that is being worked on now. So for me, on the more serious side, that is something that, you know, apart from the support we're giving to the Federation, I think that is something that my administration should be very proud of.
And I want to stick with you on that because that's a project that's been running for a very long time, but it's never finished. I remember interviewing you about 4 years ago before the Olympic Games in Tokyo, where you mentioned, I think at the time you had some people from the IOC come, you took them there for inspection and all of that. And you indicated that you had a plan to actually finish that in the next few years. But 4 years later, we are here, and the project is still not finished. Just take us through, what is the scope of work that is being done there, and what are you looking to build there specifically? Then tell me about funding and what timelines you are looking at to actually finish and deliver that project.
Okay, so I'll tell you why it's kind of delayed a bit. And you know, when we came in office, we assumed that the land was for the Olympic Committee. It was in the name of the Ghana Olympic Committee. So, you know, we had proposals. We had gone there. I remember personally paying for the grader that cleared the whole forest, and then, you know, and then we wrote back to the IOC that, look, we have the whole place cleared, and we were ready to take off on any project that they want us to do. And then they wrote back to me and said, okay, we are not too sure if the land belongs to the GOC, so we're not going to make any more investments into the project. You know, the land was given to the then GOC, which was then headed by Honorable B.T. Baba, about 20 years ago, 23 years ago now. You know, and then some money was advanced by the IOC so we could put up little small infrastructures, maybe a football
tracks.
field, you know, start that kind of thing. Okay, but Honorable BTB, about knowing the way our land tenure system here works, spend the money to wall the place.
Okay.
And but for that action,
in order to secure it.
In order to secure it, but for that action, I'm sure we don't even have any land to talk about. So I guess with time, the ROC understood why he needed to do it that way, why that decision was done. So when we wrote back to them, they said, okay, yeah, can you make sure you have title to the land? Okay, so then I got a few influential people in government. I went to see the vice president, and then a few board members who were also quite influential in government, like Honorable Jerry Shai, who is the CEO of the Coastal Development. You know, we started working together. And then about a year and a half ago, we finally got the land being officially given to the GOC. Immediately we got it, I wrote back to the IOC, and then they immediately made an allocation of $100,000 so we can start the Olympia Africa Center then. But prior to that, you know, individually, myself, a few business friends had gone ahead and done the football field, you know, created a playing area where the primary schools and the middle schools within that locality would always go to have their sports festival. Okay, so once that money was sent in, then we started a tennis court. In fact, the money was actually allocated for the tennis court and then a multi-purpose court and then a sports hall. So that is what is being worked on now. It's not enough. I mean, $100,000 is no money. But like I said earlier on, there's been a few investment from individuals, so the place looks, you know, more like okay. What we intend to do, or once the project is finished, it cannot be finished within the next year because we only started not too long ago. But when the project is finished, I mentioned the multi-purpose hall there. There's be a multi-purpose court as well, a tennis court. We also have a volleyball and a netball court there. Of course, the football field is there.
Will you have a running track?
Yeah, so for currently, there's no, you know, Lamondo or tartan tracks around it. What the schools do is that, you know, like we used to do in those times, you know, whenever they have athletics meets, then they use chalk to do the round track. But it's a good, yeah, it's a good beginning. It's going to cost us a lot of money if we want to bring the Mondo tracks. But we're also hoping that we'll have.
But that's in the plan.
That's in the plan. That's in the plan, you know, and we're also hoping that we could have a hostel there where Team Ghana can sometimes go camp. You know, when I had hoped during the era of Honorable Isiama that, you know, the government would have adapted the space and then added to the resources centers that were being put all over. But unfortunately, that was not factored in. So, and I hope that it's not too late. We've started something then. I hope that, you know, the government can come on board and do one or two structures there.
So for now, that project is 100% being funded by the IOC. And individuals. So exactly. Government has not yet gotten involved.
No, government hasn't.
Have you tried to get the government involved? Because as you explained, if that center becomes obviously the Olympic Africa Center of Excellence, you could have boxers camping there, you could have table tennis, you could have track and field, and it will save the government a lot of money in camping fees. Why have they not been interested in ensuring that that facility is finished?
Well, during the Honorable Isiama's time, I had approached him when I heard about the resource centers that were being set up, you know, but maybe I went in a bit too late. You know, he said, you know, the projects have been designated already and funding allocated accordingly. So maybe, you know, in his second term, he was going to look at adding the Amasaman side, but Isiama never came on for a second term, so probably that's it. And then also there's been a lot of engagement through the MP for the area, Honorable Enim, who had tried. Initially, he wanted the company working with ECG on the electricity lines to do an AstroTurf there. We had gone to see them, giving them the proposal. At that time, we didn't have the title to the land, so they also requested it. When we got it and we sent to them, you know, they haven't gotten back to us. So what we're doing now is just individual support. There are one or two companies who have shown that they would come on board like the producers of Rush Energy Drink and Verna Water. So we're hoping that now that the year has started, there'll be 1 or 2 companies coming to support what the IOC and the GOC are doing, and we could have a few facilities coming there. But for now, it's very well protected. It's a 10-acre, walled land with 6-acre additional space. That's 6 additional 6-acre additional space.
That is detached from.
Yes, which is outside the wall.
Yeah.
That is what my administration had pushed for, and eventually got in allocated to the GOC by the Lands Commission.
How much in total is required to finish this project, and how much is the IOC committing to it? Are they committing 100% to it, or what is the arrangement in terms of the funding like with the IOC?
Okay. Now, the IOC is not going to fund the project 100%. I mean, it doesn't happen anywhere under the Olympic Solidarity or Olympia Africa Centers. What they would normally do, if they are funding you 100,000, then you need to come out 30% of it locally. Okay. If you're able to finish a project within enough time, then you can also apply in the next year, for an additional project. So it's not like it's a project where we valued all the things that we're going to do there, but we want to take a project at a time because we don't really have money. But there's a master plan, we the engineers have. So if a company comes on board and say, okay, we're going to do your volleyball court for you, we have the area marked for the volleyball court, and then you can go ahead and do it. Or if we secure funding for the volleyball court, then we can go ahead and do it where it's been earmarked for. So currently what we have there is the FIFA side football field, and of course the running track.
That is not grassed, obviously.
It's not grass, it's sakura. Yeah. And of course we haven't done the running tracks around it. And then we are working on the multi-purpose court as well as the tennis court. Okay, we haven't started the multi-purpose hall yet, but hopefully we should be starting once the other 2 that the contractors are working on is finished.
That's fine. Obviously, what it then means is that, like you indicated, there is no timeline on when you expect that project to be finished, because all of it is dependent on money.
Exactly. No, there are no timelines, and we're not going to push ourselves. As much as we get a little bit of funding from the IOC, these are all tied to one sporting discipline or the other. So it's only when we make savings that we can take some to the project.
Well, since we're on the subject of funding, can you mention it in your introduction? The Olympic Committee gives National Olympic Committees, the IOC, sorry, gives NOCs, National Olympic Committees, annual subventions, solidarity money or scholarships that you're supposed to use to do various things. One of it being also trying to see if you can help other federations that are least financed. And the other aspect of that money is supposed to go into supporting athletes in terms of scholarships.
Exactly.
First of all, how many athletes are currently in the Olympic scholarship at the GOC?
Okay, currently we have 10 athletes on the scholarship. We have 4 from track and field.
Okay.
We have 1 from weightlifting, 1 from judo, I think 1 from swimming as well. So we have 10 athletes. Okay. The last quadrennial we had 12 athletes. So these scholarships are awarded based on the performance of the individual athletes, because it's not only for Ghana, it's maybe whatever allocation they have for the whole of Africa. So the individual athletes should have attained a certain level of performance or a certain level of achievement within the year under consideration, within the last quadrennial. It is given to these athletes to support them so they can qualify for the next Olympics. So
how much is it, by the way?
Well, currently every athlete that on the scholarship, like the boxers, okay, I forgot to mention the boxers. Yes. There are 3 boxers on the scholarship.
So that's where I would make.
So they're getting, close to 900
USD.
Ghana, no, 900. So if it's 1,000 to, so like 9,000 Ghana cedis a month for the next 4 years. But
so you're saying that there are 10 athletes currently under the GOC scholarship who are paid 9,000 Ghana cedis every month.
Exactly.
To support their training.
Yes. So to support their training, to support they going for competitions, and then sometimes to pay a little bit of allowances for their coaches.
Does the IOC send the money to you to pay them, or they pay them directly?
Okay. The only guys that comes through us is the boxers, because the international federation has been banned.
Yes.
But all these monies go directly to the athletes. So that's Zamatis, the Deborah, they receive these money.
So the track and field, 4 of them, Zamatis one.
Deborah.
Is Joe Paul part?
I think so. I'll get the other names for you as it will come up. So, so it's paid directly to them.
That's interesting. In the past, we've had, the accusations and allegations about the Olympic scholarship not being distributed fairly. You mentioned how you come up with the names, because it's up to you to submit the names. How did you come up with which 10 athletes deserve to benefit?
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, there's a criteria. You need to meet a certain criteria. Okay, so the individual federations will apply for their individual athletes. Okay, and based on what they have done in the previous quadrennial, maybe they've gone to competitions, they place, not necessarily to win the competition, but this is where they place, this is what they have done. So based on that, the Olympic Solidarity team decides that, okay, yeah, this guy has the potential of qualifying for the next Olympic. That is the whole idea, to support athletes or potential athletes who can qualify for the next Olympic. So you should have done something in the previous years for them to be convinced that, look, this is a good potential. So it's not the GOC that decides which athletes, between the federations and the IOC scholarship team.
What about the support to the federations?
Okay.
I know that you in particular came up with a strategy to support every single federation, and yet there are some federations that cry about not being supported enough, or maybe saying the money is slightly inadequate. How much do you get from the IOC, and what informed your decision to distribute that money to smaller federations?
Okay, first let me make this point before I even go on. The GOC, or it is not the duty of the GOC to fund the national teams.
The other federations.
Otherwise, if Black Stars were going to Côte d'Ivoire, you would expect that. So there's always this wrong notion that it is a GOC that has to fund.
So if swimmers are going, you have to pay.
Yeah,
if the boxers are going.
But when the footballers are going, they don't come. No. What GOC is doing supports the individual national federations and then their athletes.
Yes.
Okay, by giving them scholarships, and then also by looking for funding for them to maybe organize coaching courses, and then in extreme situations where they are not getting funded, we can pay their tickets and pay accommodation so they can go and qualify a lot of athletes for. So the GOC, I'll say, it's supporting government to develop our sports and promote our
because it's government's job.
Exactly, just like the minister is developing sports on behalf of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Me as a GOC president, I'm developing Ghana sports on behalf of the IOC president, Thomas Bach. So it's like a 50-50 thing. So the GOC and then the ministry, we are partners. But obviously, the national teams are owned by the people of this country. So the chunk of that responsibility falls on the Ministry of Youth and Sports. But what we have done in the past and continue to do is not to leave the ministry to fully bear that thing. Averagely, every year in the last, from 2017, the GOC gives averagely about $300,000 support to all the national federations. Now, these monies to us comes on a quadrennial basis, so 4-year basis. Okay, so what happens is that, for instance, okay, maybe this year tennis and badminton and tennis and weightlifting and okay, get whatever funding we get. The next year, you're not going to get, it will be different federations altogether based on their programs, So we get these applications from the various national federations, and then we look within the Olympic Solidarity application scheme where we can source funding based on the competition they want to go to. Okay, After 4 years, or within a period of 4 years, we'll try and cover as many national federations as possible, especially the Olympic sports. The non-Olympic sports, maybe like netball, okay, chess, we try to make a little bit of savings from the monies that we're receiving on behalf of the Olympic sports, and then try to support them, you know, across field. Okay. The other funding that we get that we have control of is our administrative grant, and that's just about $45,000 a year. So that is a year. That's to pay our bills, to pay our staff, and all that. You know, that's nothing. Yeah. But it is the other support that we get on behalf of the national federations. You know, be it maybe athlete support grants, you know, or be it ANOCA support, or you know, continental grant supports. You know, that is where at least every year we're able to access close to maybe $400,000, and then we can give it to the federation to support them, especially in the Olympic year, so they can qualify more athletes to go for the Olympic Games.
Speaking of which, qualification to Olympic Games has been a major headache for this country. Our participation at the Olympic Games, even in terms of performance is one thing, even participation is another problem. 2004 was the last time we actually sent 20 athletes or more to the Olympic Games. I think that year we sent around 38 or so athletes to the Olympic Games, and that was because the football team qualified, and this was in Athens, 2004. 2008 we only qualified 9 athletes. 2012 we qualified 8 athletes. 2016 14. 2020 14. So clearly, since you came, we've nearly doubled a number of athletes we're taking to competitions, and yet it is still vastly inadequate, and it almost looks like our numbers always dwarf in comparison to the other African countries that we somehow want to measure up to, say Kenya, Nigeria. They send way more, they're able to qualify way more athletes. We'll talk about the performance next, but first of all, qualification. Why is it so difficult to get our athletes, from boxing, from all those federations, qualifying many athletes to Olympic qualification? Is it that the standards are too high, or we're just not good enough?
No, I don't think we're not good enough. See, qualifying for the Olympic goals, the Olympic qualifying series is over a stretch of about 2 years.
Yes.
Okay. But you find a situation in Ghana that most of the federations, because of lack of money or because of lack of support, for 2 years, they don't go to any qualifier. Then they rush the last qualifier. Okay, and that is the difficult one, because that's where everybody is pushing to. Okay, for instance, I'll give you a typical example. Boxing. Okay, boxing, I had a chance to go through a few qualifiers. Yes, so and that was with a lot of support from the GOC.
So the Senegal trip.
Yeah. They got a lot of support from us.
They didn't qualify for that.
Because it was a tough competition. That was the African qualifier. Okay, and this time also the criteria was a bit stiff, unlike the previous year, where those who got silver, gold, silver, bronze automatically qualified for the Olympics. This time around in Senegal, if you didn't get gold, you're not going to qualify. Yeah. So it's unfortunate that we got 1 bronze, but he didn't qualify. There's another opportunity for them to go to Italy sometime the middle of February, so they can secure qualification.
I think they just started campaign.
Exactly, you know.
That's the last chance.
Yeah, that's the last chance. You know, so I would say that you get what you put in. We don't support federations to go to as many qualifiers as possible, especially the so-called least finance sports. That is the problem. If we were putting in a lot of investment in these so-called least finance sports, okay, and it's not as if they want huge money, the kind of monies you hear people talk about when the Black Stars play. No, they only want maybe like 1% or 0.0008% of that kind of money. But it is always a problem. for, those who fund the national team to come up with that money. And that, for me, has been the problem. We have the talent. You can't believe it. You should go and see what happens in Bukom and Jamestown area, in the James. Boxing alone could put us way on the map. Look, after close to 40 years, when we haven't mounted a podium at the Olympics, it was boxing. It was Samotechi. Exactly. So we need to kind of set our priorities right as a nation. It's good to support football. We are football people. I started my sports administration from Accra Suffolk in Araras. We love football. But we should not develop football at the detriment of a sport like boxing and athletics. So if we put in a little bit more investment into this discipline, trust me, Tayu, we'll show up very well at the Olympics. That is the difference between us and a country like Nigeria, who invests a lot in all their sporting disciplines.
And to be fair, I understand the point you're making, because obviously it is government's responsibility to fund the national teams and their participation in international competitions. There was, you remember last year, the story of the volleyball team that had to take a bus and go all the way to Niger, Burkina Faso. They're driving all the way to these other countries, and they don't even have enough money to fund even the bus trip, not let alone to talk about flights and what have you.
Exactly.
Because you're directly in charge of all the other different sporting federations in the country, that when every time a multi-sport event comes around, the focus immediately shifts to the GOC, because it's your job to also organize all these, or to at least supersede all these individual federations and your quality participation at competitions. So that then brings me to the Africa Games, which we are hosting from March 8th this year. And that is supposed to be, in fact, that competition is 3 or 4 months before the Olympic Games. So if anything at all, it's supposed to be a test event to see just how much talent we have and just how well we could do at the Olympic Games in Paris. And I'll ask you about the Paris targets. But we are, at the time of this interview, exactly about 40 days to the start of the Africa Games. Where are we with preparations in terms of what all the other federations are doing for these games?
Well, Team Ghana was put together maybe about a month ago. The chef de mission got a full complement of his team about a month ago, and just this morning he told me some disciplines have been earmarked to go for camping in Cape Coast, so they're leaving for Cape Coast this morning. I believe boxing, badminton, they're all moving to Cape Coast to start their camping. That is okay, that is good. It would have been better if we had started preparing much earlier, especially being the host country. And then also if we had given some of our athletes the opportunity to go out there, camp within Africa, and maybe test their strength, or as you guys do in football, play friendly matches with some of the countries that we eventually be coming to compete with us. But I guess because of money, it hasn't been possible to do that. But what is important is that at least we're beginning something, we're starting campaign, and I hope that once everybody goes into camp, and then we'll become a bit more serious. Maybe we'll have whatever we miss from not having adequate preparation would have been covered by the preparation that we're doing now. The GOC's involvement in Team Ghana is as far as putting the team together. We're also trying to source some funding, close to about $50,000, that if it comes in, we can also use that to support Team Ghana's preparation, and then even Team Ghana's participation at the games. I know Anoka wants to give all the other countries $10,000 for their participation. But that is as far as the GOC's involvement in the African Games is concerned. The African Games, I believe that over a period has been like a government thing, so it's more like it's been organized by a committee that has been put together by the government, so we are not directly involved in organizing it. But I'm a member of that committee, the LOC. It has other members. For instance, the president of the National Paralympic Committee is also a member. So we're all doing our best to see that we can have a wonderful game, and Ghana will at least will be within the top medal winning countries. We have had problems in the past or in the initial stages, so it has kind of affected the preparation for the games, and it has also affected the preparation of Team Ghana, because in my estimation, and per the roadmap that I had given to the LOC some time back, Team Ghana was supposed to have been put together at the end of 2021, you know, and then given the opportunity to go and train in other countries where we think that they have competitive advantage in some of these sports. But that was not possible, that was not done. But there's no need to cry over spilled milk. We will still do our best. You know, there's still challenges, there are still problems, because if I want to speak as an NOC person, you know, where we are now is where we should have been maybe about a year ago. So that means that we need to run. We need to run whatever we're doing. There's no time for matry. The right people should be put in charge of whatever. People who have the experience, people who have seen it, or people who have done it should be put in charge of things now. And let's get this thing down, because it's really way behind time. But like I said, you know, it's the typical Ghanaians, when we are pushed to the wall, we're like last minute performance. So I'm hoping that we will be able to pull this through and pull it off very well. Yeah. The performance of Team Ghana will depend on how well we prepare them. For a sport like boxing, I know that we're one of the best in Africa. Track and field, we're also one of the best in Africa. Of course, weightlifting would also show up. So these are a few disciplines that on any day I can put my bet on them that they will be able to win medals for Ghana. Because it will be very bad that we host this tournament, you know, and then the other people come here and take all the medals away.
In recent times, agitation for enhanced remuneration by labor unions have heightened. The Ghana Association of University Administrators is set to join in the industrial action of their colleagues in the public universities from Monday. This is in demand for improved conditions of service. Already, the Tertiary Education Workers Union of Ghana has set a date to join in the strike of the Senior Staff Association of Public Universities.
We cannot compromise on condition of service matter.
Chairman of TEU Ghana at KNUST, Charles Arthur, wants the negotiations of salaries for university staff reverted to the Committee of Vice Chancellors.
Ghana Association of University Administrators, 29th, Monday, we are going. I'm a member. We are going on strike. Yes. Number 2, Tertiary Education Workers Union, we're also going. What do you call it? 1st February. Yeah, that's right. So why is it that it's happening this way? If you allow vice chancellors to do the negotiation, you will reduce to the barest minimum. Strike.
In a response, John Dramani Mahama said there is need to put all public workers on the same salary structure.
The first duty for any government is economic stability. When I was leaving office in 2016, the dollar to the cedi was 4 cedis. I don't know what your take-home pay was at that time, but probably if you compared it and the dollar had remained stable, if today the dollar was around 6 and you're taking the salary you're taking, you probably would find that you are earning more than you have. And one of the points I've made is that a lot of you are angry because we have 2 sets of people, public workers in this country. We have Article 71 public workers, and we have fair wages public workers. And that is fair wages, public workers. And that is part of the problem. And so our solution is that let's form an independent emoluments commission that will take from the president, who is the highest public servant, to the ordinary laborer, and put all of us on the spine wherever we deserve to be. And so several times I've called for the support of organized labor to agitate so that we remove Article 71. We should all our emoluments should be determined together.
Meanwhile, the former president says the request of a honeymoon, if successful in a comeback, was misunderstood. Here is his explanation.
And the other time in Ho, I said something that people misunderstood, because I said that the economy is in crisis and we might come to meet after this government have left, we might find out that the situation is worse than we have even been told. And so I said, we must all prepare to make sacrifices. I said, we will reduce government expenditure. We would reduce the expenditure of the office of the president. We will reduce the number of ministers. We will reduce the number of ministries. Agencies that are duplicating each other will be merged. Those are the words I said. And so I said that we must all be prepared to sacrifice. I will sacrifice myself. The annoying thing is, when you are sacrificing and somebody else is loosening his belt, then you know there's a problem. And so all of us will, and I said that we will hold a century-like forum. Everybody will attend. We will show you the economic figures, show you what the economy has, so that we all understand.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
That was Nanaya Ojima, who's been following former President John Dramani Mahama, who's rallying the supports of organized labor for the removal of Article 71 from Ghana's constitution. But Nanaya Ojima joins us on the phone. Nanaya, if you can hear me, where have you been with John Dramani Mahama, and what can you report?
So the Building Ghana tour of the Ashanti region started on Wednesday. It started with a walk, which was dubbed the 24-hour economic sensitization walk, and it's something that the regional executives of the NDC in the Ashanti region had been planning for a long time. So they took advantage of the tour of the president to have this walk, and it had the former president attending the walk. It went through the principal streets of Kumasi, trying to sensitize people, let them know what the 24-hour economy, that policy that is being proposed by the NDC, is trying to do. They spoke about the job opportunities that it will offer to the people within the country. Now, John Dramani Mahama joined the work at the KGTR market, and at this spot, this is where John Dramani Mahama took advantage of the opportunity to address the people. That is the first point that he made an address in the Ashanti region. There, he spoke about a number of issues. Since he was in the KGTR market, he took advantage of the opportunity to speak about the phase 2 of the KGTR market. He said that the NDC did very well in ensuring that the phase 1 of the KGTR market was completed within schedule, and they were expecting the NPP to take over with the phase 2 of the redevelopment project, the KGTR market redevelopment project. Unfortunately, the phase 2 has stalled due to financial reasons. And what he's saying is that since it is a brainchild of the NDC, when the NDC returns to power, he will ensure that the phase 2 of the KGTR market is given some attention. Also, the traders or the people who had gathered there drew his attention to the bench part of the KGTR market. About 8 months ago, we know that part of the KGTR market was destroyed by an inferno that swept through the area. Unfortunately, this area is yet to be reconstructed. Even after the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, paid a visit to the place, and he promised that under or within his tenure, they will ensure that this place is redeveloped or it's brought back to its natural state. Unfortunately, the place is yet to receive any attention. So John Dramani Mahama also assured the traders that when the NDC is voted back into power, he says that this is their brainchild and they are willing to do everything possible to ensure that the market leads to its purpose. So they will ensure that this place is also fit to help these traders there. We spoke about other sport project that was started by the previous NDC government, that is his administration. We spoke about the Kumasi International Airport. According to him, they completed the first phase and they were expecting the NPP to ensure that the second phase is also done. But unfortunately, that is yet to come to pass. Other hospitals and school infrastructure that were started under his administration, according to him, are also yet to be completed. So he expressed his disappointment over these projects, and he assured the people that when the NDC is returned to power, they will ensure that all these challenges are faced. He also took opportunity to walk through Adum and other streets of Kumasi, and as expected, he was mobbed by the people, large following within the Kumasi metropolis. And interestingly, we had people, the MTP supporters, also waving their flag, and you see the NDC people also wave back. It was beautiful. This shows the level of tolerance among the people of the region when it comes to these political issues. From there, the work was concluded at the Jubilee Park, where John Dramani Mahama took advantage of that opportunity to address the people. One, he spoke about party unity. He wants the NDC to unite, especially after the regional and constituency elections. He wants all of them to come together and work towards returning the NDC to power. He also spoke about the 24-hour economy. Here, he made sure that he broke this policy down for the people to understand and also explain the tax incentives that come with the signing up for the 24-hour economy. From there, he moved to Cooperative, where he met the Assemblies of God Church, who were in a council meeting, and the assurance there was that if there should be any electoral violence, he is pledging that himself and the NDC, which he is leading, will not be involved. So there's actually a pledge to ensure that there is peaceful election. And also he paid a courtesy call on Prophet Ebenezer Adakwa Yadom. And in the interaction, Prophet Ebenezer Adakwa Yadom claims that there's a prophecy that John Dramani Mahama will return to power. So he assured his people, the NDC, to work towards ensuring that this prophecy is fulfilled. And also cautions them against, taking bribes or anything that will sway their attention from working towards the victory of John Dramani Mahama in the next election. So that was where he wrapped up the activities on Wednesday. That's the first day of the tour. The second day took John Dramani Mahama and the NDC to New Edibiase, where there was a town hall meeting held for the people. Before getting to New Edibiase, he made a stop at the Adanse Traditional Council, the Adanse Palace to be precise. And there he paid a courtesy call on the Adanse chief, Opija Kotre Bonsa, where John Dramani Mahama, made some assurances. And what he has been saying is that he touted the NDC's, the role that the NDC played in the Anglo-Good Ashanti redevelopment project. He said that under his tenure, Anglo-Good was not making the money that they were expecting to make. Things were actually, coming down. So, he ensured that the plan that they brought to him to ensure that the mine is brought to its level, he made sure that his government collaborated with the Anglo-Good Ashanti, the company, to ensure that this is done. So he says that before the NDC left office, this was about 60% complete. So it means that his government played a role in the Anglo-Gold Ashanti redevelopment. So the MPP government cannot claim the success that has been chalked by Anglo-Gold Ashanti. And further, he said that when the NDC returns to power, he will ensure that profit margins, some part of the profit margins of the Anglo-Gold Ashanti is put into the development of Obuasi. He compared Obuasi to other mining areas in the world. He specifically named Johannesburg. And what he is saying is that the development in Obuasi cannot be matched with what is happening in Johannesburg. So when he is returned to power, he will ensure that Obuasi sees the needed development that the people have been expecting for years. And then he moved to New Orleans. As I said, there was a town hall meeting where various players in the economy came to, speak about what they believe would help the country when implemented. And these concerns and opinions are being taken. And when the NDC brings out their manifesto for the 2024 election, according to John Mahama, they will ensure that it covers these issues that they are taking. So this is what the Building Ghana campaign is all about. They go out, seek opinions and challenges of the Ghanaians, and try to ensure that in the next manifesto of the NDC, all these will be captured in that manifesto. If we have time, let's talk about Oporikum. That is what is captured in the report that you played earlier. He met with the labor unions at KNUST. So we had NAGAT, TEU, UTAG, and other labor unions all coming together to also tell their concerns to the flag bearer of the NDC. Now, one issue that came up strongly was their salary structure. UTAG, NAGAT, and also TEU all spoke about it, and they said that if these things are not fixed under his tenure, they will ensure that industrial action will continue, even if John Dramani Mahama assumes office. They are willing to see through with all these issues. Now, John Dramani Mahama, who took his turn in addressing these people, responded to these issues that have been raised. From the tape you just played, he spoke about Article 71, and he believes that there should be a new salary structure that will bring all government workers together, and they will be given what they deserve, no matter which side that you belong to. So he wants Article 71 scrapped from Ghana's constitution. He concluded yesterday's tour at Bantama, where he met some people in a town hall meeting. Once again, he took their concerns, and these concerns, according to the NDC, will be factored into the 2024 manifesto of the National Democratic Congress.
All right. Thank you so much, Nana Ojima, for that detailed update on what John Dramani Mahama has been doing. This is still your election headquarters on Joy News, your home of independent, credible, and fearless journalism. Now, on the back of that report and what John Dramani Mahama is doing and his request for the removal of Article 71 from the Constitution, we have Austin Gummy on the line with us, who is a labor consultant. Austin, if you can hear me, is this Article 71 still relevant to Ghana?
This is not the first time the issue of Article 71 has become topical. And because of the divisionist aspect of the Article 71, and the rest of the people in the country, particularly those working people who are fed by the same exchequer, I think it is only fair that is given its proper place. Article 71 has become virtually anachronistic, and therefore may not have any place in our industrial relations lexicon again. So if we can have a structure, a properly defined structure that people will have to work for whatever contribution they make, and they are paid reasonably well, that will be it. I think that is a very important thing. And this is not the first time it's been raised by him and by many other people, even some of us. So that's real.
Do you think can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Right. Were you done with your submission?
Yes.
Okay. So do you think we need a segregation of public workers? It appears that he's actually rallied a lot of support from all these organized labor. Do you think that we need a segregation of public workers?
That is the most dangerous thing to do, to have a segregation. It's very dangerous. You know, we need to have a structure that everybody who is contributing to the growth or development of the economy will benefit from it. But if we have some people taking something other than what they deserve, that will not be fair. So yes, we need to have the things properly defined and let everybody contribute. And they are paid reasonably well so that the economy will grow. If indeed, as I also have said severally in the public domain, we can all work, not go and sleep. Obviously, the economy will grow and therefore there will be money to go around. That's the point.
So, in this case, what's the ideal thing to do then?
We must grow the economy, that's number one. We must be able to define exactly the role of labor in the scheme of how the economy would be expanded the more. And once the financial health of the country is very strong, people must be made to benefit from it. And therefore, I think that is the solid thing. Whoever wants to be a flag bearer in this country should be able to tell us what they will do. It's not about what we have to either say is good or not good. To me, the Article 71, to be honest with you, is long overdue, must be thrown away. And we need to have a system that will benefit everybody. Why should a lecturer that is teaching and for all these years not get what is due him, and they are complaining and going on strike, either on daily basis, weekly basis, or from time to time? All we need to do is to arrest this situation. How do we do it? We cannot have a divisional status and showing being courteous to some group of people as if they are the ultimate, and then some people are not benefiting. They will complain, and they have the right to complain. So I think it's a very valid proposal, and if it is entrenched, there is a way that we can, as quickly as possible, have it done, either through Parliament and subsequently whatever means that can be done, it should be done as quickly as possible. I will support it. And whoever says it anywhere too, I will support it.
Mr. Gami, finally, before I let you go, we've experienced John Dramani Mahama as a president and now as a running mate, as a presidential candidate who wants to come again, which begs the question, do you think John Dramani Mahama can walk the talk, or is he just being a politician?
He has, from where I sit, he has left office for almost 8 years now. He has observed, he has seen what is being done and what should have been done. One thing I think that we all know, I am sure people know about him, is that he's a very honest person. He's somebody who respects people and is willing to offer his best. And therefore, having gained tremendous experience, especially working experience in these offices, is no longer a novice. It's no longer somebody who is coming to try something to see whether it will work or not. He has learned his lessons. I don't think he's just doing the thing traditionally partisan politics plays. Politics simply means to make decisions on behalf of people. almost all what he's saying, you can find space in the Constitution of Ghana, even if it's not amended. Article, the whole of chapter 5, that is the directive principles of state policy, speaks to virtually everything. The 24-hour economy proposal is ensuring that the economy is managed properly. It's all dovetailed in the directive principles of state policy. So it's nothing new. It's from the experience he has gained. That is why he's speaking to it like that. Tomorrow, if Alhaji Bawumia, the vice president, who is a flag bearer of the NPP, speaks to this subject matter the same way, I will give it a maximum support. That's how it is.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Gami. Mr. Austin Gami is a labor consultant. Thank you so much for your thoughts this morning. You're still watching the AM show with me, Sweetie Abochi. We'll take a break, and when we return, the show continues. Please keep watching.
You see, having known Alan way back 2004, I got to know him through New Patriotic Party. But the principle is that I, Collins Owusu Amankwa, would always stand with the elephant symbol, so that my loyalty to this party cannot be compromised. My loyalty to New Patriotic Party, when these two loyalties miss, my loyalty to the party prevails. And that is the principle that I hold. Even if you look at our performances in terms of votes, I was able to garner almost 70% of popular votes during the 2016 general elections. And as we speak, it has dropped from almost 76% to 71% under the current MP. I think we need to be able to rescue this unfortunate dropping in terms of votes, so that we're able to prosecute a very effective campaign to be able to hit our target of securing 80% of votes for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia as our presidential candidate and my good self as parliamentary candidate.
Over 776 new Patriotic Party delegates are expected to cast their ballot in Saturday's polls in the Atwemangwa constituency in the Ashanti region. In the town hall engagement, a number of delegates from the 23 electoral areas endorsed the candidature of Frank Yeboah. The group of supporters believe aspirants who have exhibited their commitment to supporting delegates, the NPP and constituents of the constituency will be rewarded in the upcoming elections.
Yeah, fear delegate, but before you fear the delegate, what did you do for the delegate? What did you do for the delegate, my brother? So if you know you've done enough for the delegate, there's no way to fear the delegates. Yeah, but if you've not done anything, you just said there's opportunity and you just come trying to buy your way through, definitely you must fear the delegate. I look at his dedication to the party, his loyalty, and then the hard work he puts in the constituency. I'm a beneficiary of it, and then I believe he's the right man for the job right now.
Frank Yeboah has what it takes to be a leader. Looking at his track record, he has the seductive brilliance of a leader. You see around, everyone is a delegate. All those wearing the t-shirts are all delegates. So this shows the support and the love that the delegates have for Frank Yeboah.
Frank Yeboah, who is Acting Director of Procurement and Projects at the National Health Insurance Authority, is in his third contest for the seat. He is promising grassroots leadership and is positive of victory.
I served the party. I contributed to whatever the campaign that we did. 2020, I came again. Delegates said I should wait. So this is my time. And I believe that they are going to reward me come 27th of January. When it comes to lobbying, we have very bad road network. That one, I'll make sure that I do some lobbying to get it done as soon as possible. I also make sure that the youth that are unemployed, I'll institute what I call Club 100, where I'm going to bring more entrepreneurs to train them. There's going to be a mentorship program. That mentorship program will seek to address the unemployment problem you have in the constituency. When I lost in 2016, I did not go independent. I did not contest against an MPP. When I lost in 2020 as well, I helped the party, I helped the incumbent MP to win power. I had every right to go independent, but because it wasn't prudent, it wasn't good for the party, for a party member like me, a staunch member, to contest against MPP, I did not go. So if you consider those things, I feel that I stand tall.
Reporting for Joy News, Clinton.
Welcome back. It's still the AM show with me, Cecilia. Now, we told you that tomorrow, over 200,000 NPP delegates will go to the polls to vote for their parliamentary aspirants ahead of the December 2024 elections. We've been joined by the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Mr. Haruna Mohammed. Mr. Haruna Mohammed, if you can hear me, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Ceci.
Right. So tomorrow, over 200,000 delegates are going to the polls. What does preparation look like so far?
First and foremost, I say good morning to your cherished viewership and the entire multimedia team. Tomorrow is set for the elections for the new Patriotic Party to elect representatives for the sitting members of Parliament for the 2024 general elections. All preparations have been set. The EC has taken charge of all electoral materials. The security agencies have done their stimulation and made sure all voting centers are being secured. We have also deployed membership in terms of representation from regional level to national level to all regions and various constituencies that these elections will be taking place. We have had all stakeholder discussions and we have made sure that everything is online, and we are very hopeful of a fruitful elections tomorrow.
What I want to find out from you now is, what are the key areas of interest for the party and strategies to secure those seats? Because in 2020, you tied with the NDC, but for the intervention of the independent candidates, you would not be in majority right now. So what are the key areas of interest and what are your strategies to win those seats back?
Every constituency is a key area of target. We will never mind even if you go ahead to the elections and we are able to win all the 275 constituencies. And for us, we are targeting every seat. And I believe that at the end of the day, we'll be able to carry the day and make sure that we have majority of the seats in Parliament, just as we had in 2016.
So how many aspirants have been qualified so far? We know that about 11 of them were disqualified. So what's the total number of aspirants going to the polls tomorrow?
17 aspirants were disqualified, 33 were going unopposed, and then 323 aspirants were going into the elections. We have had in Sawana one person stepping down, and we also had that of Apiapin staff, also one person also stepping down. But the party took a decision based on requests from the various from the constituency and the region to postpone the elections for Apiapin staff. So in this particular scenario, you see that out of the 323 that were going on contest, one went down, leaving 321. Then one also went down, leaving, and then we also stepped down the entire. So 3 have gone down and it's left with 320 that is going for this particular elections.
So give us a
however, elections in the central region, one of the constituencies is also being also stepped down because of court process.
What time does voting start tomorrow?
Voting starts at 7 a.m., exactly 7 a.m. and closes at 2 p.m.
Okay. We know that the General Secretary, Justin Kodia, gave a rundown of what's the protocol to be followed for tomorrow? It includes that no pugilists would be allowed on the premises. Security is solely handled by the Ghana Police Service. Could you give us a rundown or a summary of what the protocol is for tomorrow?
Yes, the protocols has run down by the General Secretary. I believe that has been very, very expressly, and I think that people have taken very serious key of that. One of those is that we are making sure that the Electoral Commission is the only body that is going to take charge in terms of the conduct of the elections. The security agencies are the only, the police are the only body that is going to take charge in terms of security situations in the polling process. The National Executive Committee also has appointed some members from the national level to beef up the monitoring, and also instructed the regions to also appoint persons for the various constituencies for the conduct of the elections. We also, part of the protocol, indicate that there's not going to be camping, which is a very serious issue that the National Party is looking at. There wouldn't be any camping of delegates at a particular place. Also, serious of concern is voting in the polling booth with your electronic gadget, i.e., that is using a phone, will not be allowed. Anybody that is going to vote must leave his or her phone before he gets to the polling booth. Places that are more than 1,000, the EC would be able to look at it and then have more polling booths to be able to accommodate all these particular processes. We have also said that people that are allowed into the voting center, that is the inner parameters, has been clearly defined, and anybody that has voted must take the queue to go back to the house and make sure that you set and wait for the declaration of the results. The protocols are many, but these are some of the key ones that I would want us to look at. And also, there will not be proxy voting. Proxy voting has not been catered for, and then we are not going to also allow that. Display of ballots is not going to be accepted. Once the ballot is displayed, that ballot will be nullified per the rules of the game as issued by the General Secretary of the party. There's not going to be accreditation for everybody. Accreditation will only be given to candidates and their agents, because they are the only people that will stay at the center till the close of the voting process. The rest of the people who are going to vote must be identified by their national IDs, and that is what has been put in place. Ballot papers should not be torn from any booklet in advance. It should be torn at the time the voter is before the Electoral Commission officer who is in charge of that particular exercise. So all these things are things that the Electoral Commission has taken, and they have been able to sieve out areas that concerns Electoral Commission, and the security agencies have also sieved out areas that concern security, and they have taken cue from that and will implement the same thing as we start polling from tomorrow at 7 a.m.
So how many constituencies have been ruled out or are not voting tomorrow, and what arrangements have been made for them?
Yes, originally we have 137 constituencies that we are going into for the elections. 2 has been stepped down, and the rest of the constituencies are going on. So it means that 135 constituencies are going ahead to conduct the elections. These constituencies I've already mentioned, that is the Aquatim South constituency, and then where Cynthia Morrison is contesting in Central Region. I forgot the name of the constituency, but one constituency from Central Region. So we have 2 constituencies that has been stepped down.
Okay, so one of the items on the protocol that we saw is that one polling station for each constituency, except in a special case. Are there any such special cases?
Yes, that particular place meant that there are some polling centers or constituencies that voters are close to 2,000. For example, that is Domiko Abenya. Domiko Abenya has about 1,800 plus voters. And then there is Anyaso Chum. We have about 1,500 voters. So that with those particular centers, the Electoral Commission will take the decision to either increase voting, that is voting centers, that is polling centers, that is the booth, the number of booths that will be used to cast the vote, or set up another polling station within the same polling station. So it is the decision of the Electoral Commission to look at the number of people that is going to turn up for voting and decide. And that is where we have said that it is when it is special cases. So there are other constituencies that the number is more than 1,000. So the Electoral Commission will also look at it and make sure that in a special instance that they increase the polling booth or they take a decision that will be right for the electoral process to be smooth and make sure that we are able to close polling at 2 p.m.
So how are you handling the verification of voters tomorrow?
For voting, it's going to be walk-in. It's not going to be like a conference. You come, speeches are being delivered, and here and there. Once you get up, you walk in, you go straight, you are identified, you are given your ballot paper, you go and vote, you cast, and then you leave the place. So, for identification, is going to be by national ID. Any of the national IDs will be used. Your party ID card can be used. Your name and picture is on the album. So once it's collected by the EC, they verify that you are the person, and then you are being allowed to go and vote. And these delegates are known persons. We have 5 executives from each polling station, 1 electoral area coordinator, constituency executive committee, and then council of elders and council of patrons. These are known people of our party, and I don't believe that people can impersonate them as they go to vote. And we will stay strictly to those particular guidelines and rules as pertaining the document signed by my boss, Lawyer Justin Kodia from Paul.
All right, thank you so much. Any final words before I let you go?
My final word to the people is that I want to urge everybody that this is a contest of ideas. We are not going to war. We are going to select people who will be representing our party. From today onwards, as we conclude by tomorrow, there will not be any side of candidature again. There will only be a candidate for the New Patriotic Party. And all of us should be very mindful of our conduct, our attitude, and what we say, that we are going to make sure that we live to see the vision of the New Patriotic Party to break the 8 in 2024. And these are the men and women that we are going ahead to select to complement the number of the open constituencies we have done so far. We live to see, and we want to make sure that we have majority of the seats in the 9th Parliament of the Republic of Ghana.
Thank you so much, Mr. Haruna Mohammed, who's the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. But still on the NPP's parliamentary primaries tomorrow, we have Nana Boakye Yadom, who's a Ashanti regional correspondent on the line. He joins us via Zoom. Nana Boakye, if you can hear me, what's preparation looking like in the Ashanti region ahead of tomorrow's elections?
Well, Suti, the Ashanti region is poised for this exercise. You know that this is the party's stronghold when it comes to and the number of parliamentary candidates the party has in parliament. So for the atmosphere and the preparation, it looks quite charged, and delegates as well as the aspirants are poised for tomorrow's exercise. I must say that there are over 120 aspirants who are seeking to become members of parliament on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party ahead of the December 7th general elections. And so we have 41 constituencies in the Ashanti region where voting will be taking place. The NPP originally has 43 constituencies in their hold, but then 2 constituencies, i.e. Fomena and then Kumewu, would not be partaking in tomorrow's exercise. Kumewu because they went for the by-election not long ago, where NSP won that election. And so for some strategic reasons, the party says they would not have Kumewu's constituency election, for the parliamentary exercise. And also for Fomena, the party would not be having the parliamentary primaries at Fomena because of the independent candidacy of the second deputy speaker of parliament. And so for some strategic reasons, the party has also put Fomena on hold. So aside from Fomena and then Kumewu, 41 constituencies in the Ashanti region will be partaking in tomorrow's parliamentary exercise. So generally, over 120 aspirants are expected to go through tomorrow's process. There are no challenges whatsoever, but then the region is poised for this exercise.
Do you have any updates from the regional representatives who are supposed to head the elections tomorrow in the region?
Well, for the Ashanti Regional Executive Body, they are fully prepared. We spoke to the executive body this morning ahead of this whole conversation. And for them, everything is intact. For security, it is left into the hands of the Ghana Police Service. Polling centers have been declared, and so aspirants have to take note of their polling centers or voting centers. And so every material that is needed for tomorrow's exercise, we are being told is ready and is in the region. And so every other thing that is expected of aspirants and the regional executive body would be put in place to make sure that the exercise is fruitful and peaceful tomorrow. Thank
you so much, Nana Wachiadom, who is our Ashanti regional correspondent. We also have Rafiq Salam from the Upper West region. Rafiq, what are the key areas to look out for in tomorrow's election in your region?
The Upper West region here, we have 3 constituencies where we have 3 sitting members of parliament. But elections will be held in one constituency, which is the Sesala East constituency. We have the Interior Minister, Honorable Ambrose Derry, going on a post following the disqualification of Alois Bol. And then also we have the incumbent member of parliament for Lambusi, Dr. Brad Baligi, who is also going on the post. And so the contest will take place in the Sesala East constituency between the incumbent member of parliament and also Deputy Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Amidu Chinye Isaku. He will pitch his strength against a lecturer from the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana, Dr. Tebuntie Zato Joshua. And so the information that we have getting from the Sesala East constituency campaigning is still going on ahead of the polls tomorrow, and it's really peaceful in the Sesala East constituency. And so that is the only constituency that we are looking ahead tomorrow. But there are 2, Lamuse and also Nandom. There will be popular acclamation in those constituencies.
So arrangements are ready, voting ballots, everything is ready for tomorrow?
For now, the information that we have gathered from the office of the Upper Regional MPP, branch of the MPP, and also from the EC, that they are really ready for tomorrow's election. And so all the candidates are campaigning vigorously, seriously for the elections. And, we are also having allegations of the candidates also that they are at least trying to allegedly bribing, trying to give some kind of freebies to the delegates, and then which is really a worry to the people of the Sesala East constituency. Many people are of the opinion that there are some schools in the constituency that school feeding, the schools are not being cooked for, and so they will have preferred that these monies that are given to the delegates be given to the schools so that to enable them to cook. And also they also have the West, one of the West Road network in the region. They think that these issues could have been fixed rather than talking about issues of doling out or dangling freebies on the delegates. For now, the party's battle is ready for tomorrow's election, Saturday at 2.
Thank you so much, Rafiq Salam. Now let's shift our attention to the Eastern region, where we have Maxwell Kudeku, who is also our correspondent. Maxwell, what are preparations for tomorrow in your region?
Well, competitive elections would take place in 19 constituencies out of the 25 constituencies where the MPP have sitting members of parliament. 19 because the Achim Oda constituency, Abitifi constituency, Upper West Achim constituency, and the new Gabin South constituency have no contest. There is going to be acclamation on a later date for this constituency. The Equapim and North constituency has already done their primaries months ago, and then also the Equapim South constituency, as we know, has been put on hold following some recommendation by the constituency and the regional executive. The issue in the Equapim South constituency has to do with the municipal chief executive who file a conditional nomination that in case that the member of parliament do not contest, he would contest. So we know that just this week, the member of parliament, Mr. Obi Amwa, pulled out from the election. So there has been consultation among stakeholders in the constituency and the region as to whether or not the conditional nomination put forward by the MCE should be considered. So that constituency, there is not going to be election. Apart from that, the 19th constituency has over 72 candidates battling to represent the party in the 2024 election. There are some one or two constituencies that people classify it as a lookout for constituency. That is the Insaum Adwoji constituency, where the majority chief whip, Mr. Frank Anodompre, is the member of parliament, and then also the New Biabe North constituency, where the Eastern Regional Minister is also facing a fierce contest. In the Nsaom Adwoji constituency, there are two other candidates who showed up to contest the sitting member of parliament, Mr. Frank Anodompre. But this week, we had information that there's the second candidate, Mr. David Edututu Jr., resigned from the contest, leaving Mr. Frank Anodompre in a one-on-one battle with Hayford Siam. That constituency is going to be a very hot constituency. You recall that some few weeks ago, there were a series of press conferences and other agitations wanting the member of parliament to go unopposed, and there are other people who were also prevented from taking form. So all eyes are on the Nsaoma Adwoji constituency. There are varied interests. The people are willing, some section of people are willing to unseat the member of parliament, Mr. Anodompre. Why is he also aggressive to maintain the gains that he has made over the period? There's one other constituency that is very key. People classify that constituency as a rare showdown. That is the New Biabe North constituency. In the New Biabe North constituency, there are about 5 people battling for the position. It's been classified as a showdown constituency because of the involvement of the Eastern Regional Minister, Mr. Seth Kwame Echampon, who is also a former member of parliament from Prayeso constituency. The politics is that it is perceived that the Mr. Hakman Owusu Ajima and his team are heavily in support of Mr. Seth Kwame Echampon, and Mr. Brian Echampon, who is also one powerful bloc in the region, is also supporting the candidature of one Nana Osei Eji. And then also there is one other contender who we are told works with the Ghana Embassy in Germany, Mr. Joseph Osei Jaba. He also has support from other people in the party. There are other candidates, including Mr. Philip Chum Yeboah, who is a businessman, and then also Samson Kwesi Ano, who has also contested. He is a brother of the former regional chairman of the MP, Mr. Samuel Yao Ano. So this constituency has been one of the tightest constituencies. That is where the proper showdown that we talk about is going to happen. So basically 19 constituencies facing fierce election. I had a conversation not too long ago with the Director of Communication, Mr. Yeboah, and he tells me that ballot papers and all electoral materials has been dispatched from the regional EC to all the district offices of the Electoral Commission, waiting tomorrow at exactly 7 to commence the election. There were few issues in the Asane Manso Akroso constituency. That's the AMA. The issue has to do with the venue for the election. Initially, the party decided to hold the election at Achim Batabi. However, some people who are perceived to be the supporters of the major contender, Mr. Ales, opposed to the venue in Achim Batabi. There were confrontations leading to the arrest of some people, but the party intervened and moved the venue from Achim Batabi back to Achim Akroso. So how do you call it? Peace has been restored in that constituency as we speak now.
So have you met any of the delegates, and what's the general mood ahead for tomorrow among the delegates themselves?
Well, it appears that everybody, not so many of the delegates are showing open support for the various candidates. You know, mostly when it comes to election of this nature, I mean, delegates believe that is the time to cash in. So people have taken the back seat, putting on the parent to take their pawn of the flesh. So there are few constituencies that you could sense tension. That is really the Nsawam Maduredi constituency, where there is a clear fashion. The constituency chairman, who happens to be in the camp of the sitting member of parliament, we are told has moved from the MP's parliament, the MP's camp, to the camp of Mr. Hefotiam. He was heard last 3 days on local radio station, bastardizing the member of parliament and encouraging all the people who voted for him to become the constituency chairman to vote for Mr. Hefotiam. So in that constituency, you could see a very clear division among the delegates. But MP believe that although he's done a good job, so he will still have the support from the delegates. So it is a mixed feeling. Some places delegates are quiet, other places delegates are openly seen canvassing for one candidate or the other.
Well, thank you so much for that update, Maxwell. Now let's move to the northern region where Martina Buguri is there. Martina, if you can hear me, what's the mood and preparation looking like ahead of tomorrow's election?
With preparations, the EC I spoke to said they have received all materials and all is set. The materials were received yesterday, and this morning, Miao, Zabzuru, and Yendi will be dispatched, whilst Nantong receives theirs tomorrow morning. And so with the Electoral Commission, they are set for the elections tomorrow. With security, we are told that they are beefing up security in areas perceived to be hotbeds. And so we expect to see more security alerts in these constituencies. In the northern region, we have 4 constituencies. That is Miao constituency, Yendi constituency, Zabzuru constituency, and Nantong constituency. These are the constituencies that will be holding their elections tomorrow, and we have 8 people who are contesting. In Nantong, we have Kamaldeen Abdullah and Hadi Tuferu. In Yendi, we have Farouk Aliu Mahama and Abibata Shani Mahama Zakaria. In in Miao, we have Ayaba Aziz and Idrisu Musa Superior. And in Zabzuru, we have Fawaz Aliu and Binam George. These are the people contesting in these elections. Now, Zabzuru, Yendi, and Nantong have been described as the hot places to watch for in these elections. In Yendi, for instance, in the last election, Farouk, who won and represented the people of Yendi, polled 240, and Abibata, who came second, polled 210. A very close contest between these two people. And so it makes it very hot because there's a possibility that it could swing to any side. Because of that, most of their supporters are they've had some few confrontations, but in all, there's hot competition, there's hot contest in this particular constituency. And in Nantong, when they came for the voting, we saw a bit of tension between supporters of the 2 candidates. And we are told that it's all like that in the constituency as well. And so these are very 2 places that we would need to focus this election. In Zabzuru, the current MP is contesting somebody from the presidency with Fawaz. People believe that Fawaz is young, he has the resources, he has the backing of power, and so they believe that he has the opportunity to turn things around. But the MP who has gone already has had some few contacts, people still loyal to him. And so it's possible any of them could take it in that constituency. And so that also makes it a hot spot to look at during tomorrow's election.
So have there been any noteworthy alliances or open endorsements so far from the delegates? The delegates will prefer to be silent. Anyone who comes, they back you, knowing very well the person they are going to vote for because of the opportunities they have to benefit. They are cashing in at this time of the year. So nobody openly says, I am supporting this person. But we have had few people who have openly said,
I am going for this person and nothing will change.
Are there any shocks to look out for then?
I didn't get that question.
Are there any surprises that we should be looking out for?
Well, surprises we would wait to see, but I think that people are looking at Nantong and then Yendi surprises. So that's the opinion of people, but that is not what the we don't know what the delegates are thinking. So we hope to all that will be clear tomorrow when the contest is over.
All right. Thank you so much, Martina Bugri. All right, now let's go to Dr. Stephen Amwa, who's the MP for Inshai. So, Dr. Stephen, if you can hear me, what are the processes so far for tomorrow's elections?
Thank you very much. My regards to our listeners and viewers this very morning. I think so far, on my part, so good. Everything is well organized. I'm looking forward to winning the election tomorrow with a very large margin. I just try to go around the constituency, and I've really witnessed calmness, and it's like people are eager and anxious to see what will happen. We have three, but particularly what will happen between me and my predecessor, Honorable Kennedy Kankam.
What are you inferring this confidence from, that you're going to win by a large margin? What's inspiring this confidence in you?
Because of what I've been doing in the constituency for the people, with the people, and also they know that in terms of my contribution in Parliament, especially this time that most of the experienced parliamentarians are exiting, they need somebody like me to fill in the gap, in addition to others that they need them, so we can keep our fraternity, at pace with the experienced NDC young parliamentarians. So it's all over. The people are saying that it will be very unfortunate to change Dr. Stephen Amwa, in spite of, by the fact that he performed so excellently well on the floor of Parliament and in the constituency as well, that he does a lot of great things for the people. And they know I'm very visible. I've worked so hard in the area of education, security, sanitation, making sure that I help them to get scholarships and other things. So it's all over, and they know what I've been doing for them.
Have there been any last-minute plans that, inspire your confidence, or has it just been based on your merits or the work you've been doing so far? Any last-minute plans that have come to play?
Oh, I really don't get your question well, but
are there any plans or any arrangements that you've done that is also boosting your confidence?
Definitely. Yeah. I'm open up. I've been campaigning for some time now. I've been meeting the delegates. I'm on the finance committee, so I've been very busy. I just started my campaign about a month ago, and honestly, it's gone so much well. So today is the day that I'm putting my team together for administrative work, how we're going to collect our results, how we're going to organize ourselves, how we're going to conduct ourselves, citing those who are playing interface roles for me, that it's just something we are doing as family members. We need to put our heads together before, during, and after the election. We are organizing our tally sheets ourselves and other things so that we wouldn't be taken by any surprise. So we are working hard and trying to also, I've been raising funds for a long time because you also need money for politics. Those who are hearing me this morning, if they cannot contribute to it, but then everything is set for tomorrow, honestly.
So what's your opinion on election integrity on the back of the fear delegates, issue that parliamentary candidates often talk about?
Of course, you are dealing with people. My father once told me something, my late father, may he so rest. He said that, Nanaya, when you are dealing with human beings, it's different from when you are dealing with dogs. If a dog doesn't like you, it can never come to you. Human being can come to you working with you, but in his or her mind, he's not with you. So you always have to leave margins for surprises. But I can assure you, tomorrow's election, it doesn't matter what it will take. Dr. Sevinamwa is going to carry the day by the grace of God, based on my hard work and the experiences that I've demonstrated and I've also gained in Parliament and my contribution to the fraternity FPP for almost 30 years. They know what I've been doing.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Now, let's move to Mr. Fosu Frimpong, who's the Ahafo North MP.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. So, like I was saying, let's move to Mr. Fosu Frimpong. Mr. Fosu Frimpong, if you're on the line, what does tomorrow look like for you?
Tomorrow, by the grace of God, I am going to win and go ahead to become the MP for the people of Ahafo North.
What's inspiring this confidence? What have you done to ensure that you come out victorious tomorrow?
Well, if you come to Ahafo North and you mention Fosu Frimpong or KFS, everybody will tell you of my handiwork. Since we started this campaign, there are so many things that we have done to tell the people of Ahafo North that if they give us the money, we can actually do the work.
Like what? Could you just list 2 or 3 of these things?
We organize free vacation classes for every student in Ahafo North, and it was such a huge success. We also did scouting tournament where we scouted for players, for teams here in Ghana and abroad. We also did skill training as we speak. This was the 2nd year. We have trained so far more than 1,500 in employable skills, in beef making, pastry, snail farming, mushroom farming, and so on and so forth. And all these things are things that people were craving for. And what we have recently started is something that people have been crying for in Ahafo North. If you come to Ahafo North, the road network, according to the Assembly's record, is 520 kilometers. The record says that since the establishment of this municipality in 1988 by an Act of Parliament, only 49 kilometers of road in the municipality has been tarred. And since some roads have not seen reshaping for the past 20 years, 15 years, what Fosu Frimpong has done in Ahafo North is to tackle road network, reshaping of roads in the municipality. As you see, we targeted 47 communities. We are still doing it. As of yesterday, we are still doing it. And we have done over 83 communities. And all these places, their roads have been reshaped. It has never happened in the history of Ahafo North that somebody who is not in government, somebody who has the will to serve his people, is using his own money to do such great work. And I believe that the delegates are saying that they want me to be their MP. You come to our towns and villages, everybody is craving for Kweku Fosu Frimpong to be their MP because they have seen the good work that, by the grace of God, I am doing.
Would you say this is your only advantage over your competitors, your contenders?
Well, I would not say this is my only advantage. What I would say is that there are certain qualities that people look out for, in a member of parliament. And I can confidently tell you that I surpass him in all of those qualities. If you look at somebody who is accessible, who has the people at heart, somebody people can call, somebody people can come to at any point in time for help, for assistance. If you look at somebody who has the will and the ability to go and look for projects and programs to come and help his people, they have seen that in me. go to Numesia. By the grace of God, we managed to secure one of GFEC network pool in Numesia with the community in Ahafo. We are currently working on bringing network pool to a lot of other communities. Just 3 days or 4 days ago, we did the same thing for 2 other communities. And all these things are indications that if I become their MP, I can work for their interest.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Frimpong Fosu. Let's move now to Bono East region, where Anas Sabit is joined us now. Anas Sabit, how are preparations going for tomorrow's elections? Anas,
yes, all is intact. All is intact here as well. The Electoral Commission is prepared to ensure that the elections is conducted in a free and fair manner, except that here in the Bono East region, out of the 11 constituencies, we're going to have only one contest, which will be in the West, constituency. The NPP is currently occupying 3 seats in the region: the Teachman South constituency, the Kintampo South constituency, and then the Pru West constituency. We're going to have no contest in the Teachman South constituency, where the Deputy Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Martin Ajemian Sakosa, is currently the MP in Teachman South. In the Kintampo South constituency, we have Alexander Jan, who is equally going unopposed. But the Pru West has the current Deputy Rules Minister, in the person of Mr. Stephen Jalula, who is the MP for the area. For the first time, he won that seat for the NPP in the 2020 general elections. He's going to be, facing off a stiffer contest with Alhaji Garba Idrisu, who has been a DC for the area under the Eswal Kofo administration between the year 2004 and 2008. So that is the only constituency where we're going to have a contest between the current Deputy Rules Minister, Stephen Jalula, and a former DC under Force administration, Alhaji Garba Idrisu. Well, if you look at the terrain, the Pru West constituency, like I said, it was an area the NPP had never won until Stephen Jalula came into the limelight. He was, he contested for the seat for the first time in 2016 and then lost. He tried again in 2020 and then won. In 2016, the margin was quite close, about 16 votes difference between himself and the NDC. Let's also not forget that is an area that the NDC has taken as a stronghold. Even in the 2020 elections, when Stephen Jalula won that particular contest, the NDC's presidential candidate, the person of John Dramani Mahama, had over 15,000 votes compared to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's a little over 14,000 votes. So it's been an NDC area, but Jalula for the first time won the contest for the NPP in 2020. So this time around, the people of the area from our checks, they do not want to change the winning team from the checks we've done so far. So Jalula has a brighter chance of winning. But Alhaji Garba Idrisu coming in, someone who has ever been a DCE, is equally going to give Jalula a run for his money. But we wait to see what is going to be the outcome of the election, hopefully tomorrow.
And as I'll come back to you, right now we have Collins Edumako Mensah online, who is the MP for Efija Kwabre North. Mr. Collins Edumako, if you can hear me, what are your plans for tomorrow's elections and how hopeful are you?
Well, good morning and thank you for the opportunity. Yes, I'm very hopeful. I'm very, very confident that the delegates will renew my mandate and give me another opportunity to lead them to the December 7th general elections. Over the past 3 years, I believe very strongly, and in all honesty and all modesty, I believe I've served them well. I call them my employers. I need to check all my social media handles. That is how I refer to my constituents. And I believe that I've been a very good employee, and it is my hope that at the end of the day tomorrow, latest by 3 o'clock, I should be declared the winner.
What have you done so far in Efija Kwabre North that you think guarantees you this term to be their parliamentary representative?
Well, it's not about. Anytime I hear journalists ask this question, what have you done for the people? I would have wished that this question went to my constituents and for them to give an account of my stewardship. For me as a person, as I said, in all humility.
Well, if not what you have done, then what just guarantees that your delegates want to vote for you to come into power?
I'm coming to answer your question. I said I believe that this question could have best been answered by my constituents who have seen what I've done, so they can attest to it. But nonetheless, I could enumerate some of the few things that I've done. I mean, I've been in Parliament for just 3 years, and proud to that, I'm sure you might not have heard of Cooperative before. But fortunately, because of my involvement in communication for the party and my activities on the floor of Parliament, I'm sure it is quite easy for anybody to recognize my constituency now. So one of the things that I did was to promote very, very strongly the image of my constituency. And Joy News and Joy FM, I'm a regular panelist in most of your shows. Secondly, education is one of the key things on my agenda. I always tell my people that I'm here as a young 40-year member of Parliament because of education. And so anybody who knows me in that constituency knows that I spend about 60% of my common fund on education, from teacher motivation to student motivation. And I'm very proud that since 2009, when the ESS pass rate was 63%, just a few months ago, the latest report shows that we've crossed the 90% mark and we have a pass rate of 93%. It just did not happen. It took efforts of myself in collaboration with the district chief executive and the district director of education to bring it this far. In terms of infrastructure, if you come to my constituency, I have two major problems. One is roads infrastructure and then educational infrastructure. In my constituency, prior to the 2020 election, fortunately, we managed to have the initial road from Mahinkro to Tetrere graded and developed. It is not in the best of shape, but at least what it used to be previously is not as it is now. It is a vast improvement in that particular area. In terms of educational infrastructure, I've managed to get 2 or 3 Get Fund projects into the constituency. One has already been completed and I've commissioned same, and the other is under construction. In terms of my relationship with my constituents, I believe they will be in the best position to tell. I'm always around, very, very affable, very, very open, and listen to their plights, and I do my best to attend to them. So I know that the delegates know what I've been able to do over this past short 3-year period, and I believe very strongly that tomorrow they are going to renew my mandate.
All right, thank you so much, Collins Adumako, who's the MP for Ifija-Kwabre North. Now, back to Anas, but if you just join us, what we are doing is speaking to both regional correspondents and aspiring parliamentary candidates on the New Patriotic Party tickets, because tomorrow they go to the polls to select their parliamentary candidates for the December 2024 elections. And as you were telling me that with just 3 seats and 1 contest, then how is the mood among the delegates then for tomorrow, if you've seen any of them?
Yes, so like I was saying, because we have no contest in Techiman South and Kintampo South, it's going to be popular acclamation. But in Crew West constituency, where we're going to have a contest, the delegates we've been engaging, most of them I have directly spoken to, seem to be throwing their weight behind the current MP who doubles as the Deputy Rules Minister. Like I'm saying,
It appears we have some network challenges with Anas's connection. But now let's move to the Volta region, where Fred Kwame Asari is our correspondent. Fred, if you can hear me, how are preparations faring for tomorrow's parliamentary primaries in the Volta region? Fred, if... All right. This is the big stories. The biggest stories this weekend, as we said, is that the ruling New Patriotic Party goes to the polls tomorrow to select their parliamentary candidate.
So
it appears Anas is back online. Anas?
The kind of work Stephen Jalula has been able to do, he deserves to be given a second chance to go back to Parliament, hopefully in 2024. So that is what we are picking from the delegates here in the region. And we believe that from what we've gathered, the contest in the Pro East region wouldn't be that tough for the current MP, Stephen Jalula.
Thank you so much, Anas. Fred Kwame Asari, if you can hear me, how are preparations faring for tomorrow's elections? So Fred Kwame Asari is our Volta regional correspondent. Fred, if you can hear me, how are preparations faring for tomorrow's parliamentary primaries in the Volta region?
So Fred Kwame Asari is our Volta regional correspondent.
So Fred Kwame Asari is our... Hello, Fred.
Yeah, hello, I can hear you.
Okay.
Here in the Volta region, preparations are ongoing. There will be elections in two constituencies. That is the Akachi North and then the Ketu North constituencies. The NPP has only one seat here in the Volta region. That is the Hohwe seat, which Honorable John Peter Amewu won in 2020. The NPP is imposing their confidence in him to retain the seat in 2024. Hence, nobody is contesting him. He would be acclamated tomorrow while the primaries are ongoing. So in the Hohwe constituency, there won't be any primary or elections. John Peter Amewu will be acclamated to represent the party in the 2024 parliamentary primaries in Hohwe. However, there are two strategic constituencies that the NPP is hoping to win the parliamentary seats. That is the Akachi North and then the Ketu North constituency. These constituencies, elections were not held in the past. It is now going to be done tomorrow. In the Ketu North constituency, we have Enoch Amegleto, who contested the regional secretary positions in 2019, and then he contested twice. Let me just say he contested twice and then lost the seat. But then he also served as the regional communications officer, so he's a bit familiar with electorate in the Ketu North constituency. He is contested by Baron Kwekuche Beli, also in the Ketu North. So these two aspirants will be contesting for the slot to represent the NPP in the parliamentary elections in 2024. They would be contesting the NDC's Edem Agbana. You remember what transpired or happened during the NDC primaries, where Edem Agbana was later declared winner, and then there were some controversies with regard to the results, where there was one ballot and one unstamped ballot, which brought forth some controversy, and then also some delegates got angry and were not happy with the decision by the party, the NDC hierarchy, where Edem Agbana was declared the winner. And then there were some press conferences where people registered their displeasure and mentioned that they would split away from the party if the error is not corrected. So the NPP is hoping to elect a strong candidate in Ketu North to represent the party and then eventually win the seat. The incumbent MP, which is Honorable Aveji, is no more contesting. So this gives a level playing field to both the NDC and then the NPP to contest and then win the seat. But however, the seat has traditionally been for the NDC. So the NPP is hoping to make some inroads in there and then win the seat. Also in the Akachi North, we have Prosper Kofi Patu contesting the DC, who is Simon Peter Kofi Owusu. The NDC won the seat in 2020 with just a little over 5,000 votes. This seat, or this constituency, the Akachi North constituency, is one of the constituencies the NPP is targeting to win. So they are hoping to elect a strong candidate. The DCE contested in 2020 and then lost the seat by 5,000 votes to Peter Nochukotwe. So he's hoping that the electorate or the delegates will elect him once again, since he's already familiar with the people and then has made some inroads, serving as DCE. He's hoping that the delegates will elect him, and then eventually he'll win the seat for the NPP. So in the Volta region, there will be acclamation of John Itameu to represent the party in the 2024 elections in Hofwe. And then in the Akachi North and Keto North, there will be elections to elect a parliamentary candidate for the NPP heading into December 2024 general elections.
Well, Fred, have there been any last-minute developments that are worth noting in the camp of the NPP specifically? Have there been any developments? Have there been any recent developments that would impact tomorrow's elections?
Well, the only thing I am made to know is that later in the day, election materials will be dispatched to these two constituencies, that is the Akachi North and then the Keto North constituencies, for the elections to be held, for the elections to be organized tomorrow. Be it as it may, regional executives are key in these two areas and hoping that the best candidate is elected to represent the party in the 2024 general elections and then eventually win these two seats. Also, the Adaklu seat is one of the seats the NPP is targeting and hoping that they would win it over from the NDC. So these are the current situations on the ground in the Volta region.
Thank you so much, Fred Kwame Asari, who is our Volta regional correspondent. So we've spoken to a number of correspondents and parliamentary candidate hopefuls. We spoke to Haruna Mohammed, Nanaya Abuache from the Ashanti region, Rafiq Salam from the Upper West region. We also spoke to Maxwell Kudeko from the Eastern region. And then we spoke to Martina Bugri from the Northern region. And from all indications, preparations are underway, and in some places, everything is set for tomorrow's elections. This is the AM show with me, Sweetie Abuache. We'll take a break, and when we continue, when we return, the show continues. Don't go away.
The winner, Get Group.
Excitement galore as your toil is crowned. They are a team of 6 young innovators, the Global Engineering Technology Group team from John Wesley Methodist Basic School. They have the passion to address societal challenges using their science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM knowledge. Their project, an anti-sleep device for motorists, is targeted at dealing with the increase in road accidents in Ghana.
This is how the anti-sleep device for motorists works. The eye blink sensor coordinates the eye. After the eye blink sensor has detected that the driver is sleeping, it sends a signal through the processor for the buzzer to beep. As the buzzer continues to beep and the driver regains consciousness, he or she can continue with his journey. But if he fails to regain consciousness, the headlight and the brake light gives an indication that there is danger for other motorists who are behind not to collide with each other. Again, the speed of the car then reduces and the car engine stops automatically. It then sends an SMS to an emergency contact for the rescue of the driver.
Team lead Mary Menu is excited of their victory.
From day one, we have sweat, we didn't sleep. We made sure that everyone will be safe, and we want everyone to be safe. No loved one should be separated anymore through road accidents.
On behalf of President Akufo-Addo, Chief of Staff Madam Frema Opare highlighted some challenges plaguing Ghana's education system.
Ghana's education sector still requires some significant transformation to compete with the best in the world. For example, we must increase our gross tertiary enrollment ratio from the current 18.84% to 40% by 2030.
Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei Educhum congratulated Dream Oval for augmenting government effort in making STEM education fun for junior high school pupils. He, however, urged the organizers to scale up the project to cover the entire country.
Bringing students from Greater Accra, Eastern and Ashanti. And I appeal to the sponsors of this program to scale this to the rest of the country, because we have talent everywhere in Ghana.
The organizers appealed to corporate Ghana for financial support to extend the GSTEP program to every pupil. Winners of the 2024 edition of GSTEP Challenge, Get Group, were awarded 70,000 Ghana cedis worth of STEM equipment for their school and a citation from sponsors and organizers. Aqua Century were first runners-up and light bearers emerged second. Shola Adeyemi's report for Joy Prime.
Well, the fun you're seeing on your screens did not end there. Welcome back on the show. This is still the AM show with me, Sweetie Aboshi. Now, the first runners-up of the GSTEP Awards that was held yesterday have joined me in the studio to talk about what they did, the experience, and I saw you dancing. Welcome to the show. I would like you to introduce yourselves, starting from the lady.
I'm Obia Stephanie, just a finalist from Kwaibi Brim, the Great Impact School Complex, Kedea Bem to be precise.
Fantastic. You speak so well. And you are?
Also, Osujo.
Yeah. From the same school?
Yes.
How did you even hear about GSTEP in the first place?
Our teacher introduced it to us that they have brought a program like a GSTEP relating to STEM education. But as far as we're not knowing how to deal with the STEM equipment, and they say the GSTEP people are those who will be producing all these things for us.
Okay, so what did you do? I saw that you came second in the competition. It means that you created something, a prototype that solves real-life problems using science, technology, and engineering. Can you tell me about your project? What did you do?
We create a smart solar security street light, which is powered by photovoltaic panels mounted on lighting structure. It also contains a rechargeable battery, CCTV cameras, LED lights, and other improved components which provide safety and a sense of security. It also have an upgrade component like the traffic light, direction board, and a speed detector, which all these things are powered by the solar panels.
That's what you can see on your screens. And correction there, you are second runners-up, so it means you came third place. How did you know, now your turn to talk, how do you know that you were technologically savvy or you were good at exploring and creating stuff before we get into your activities in the competition?
Our teacher taught us how to program and how to talk in public.
Okay, so in the course of producing this prototype, was there roles shared among you or you both just worked on everything together?
No, the role was shared among us.
Okay, what did you do?
I was in charge of electronics and customer relations.
What does that even mean?
Maybe maybe you are doing a home automation, how to fix it, or yes, that was how, and the customer relation, maybe how I interact with my customers. Yes.
And what did you do?
Programming and marketing.
It means you're good with computer software and all the computer stuff. So how does it feel to come third place in a competition where hundreds of students across the country from Eastern Ashanti and Greater Accra were drawn into fierce battles to produce great prototypes to solve real-life problems? How does it feel to be part of the winners?
I feel very good.
Yeah?
Exciting.
What did you win?
One
25,000.
How much?
25,000.
What are you going to do with that money?
We will use it to buy some STEM equipment in order to create more prototype or more things to solve problems in our community or maybe in our country.
Where is the prototype right now?
Or it's our place, our hotel, the Aknak Hotel.
Okay, and is it working? Is it something that you can actually use?
Yes.
Have you used it since you created it?
Yes.
What did you do with it? Or where did you try it out?
The conference hall.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about what this device does.
The LEDs give off light when voltage is applied.
Speak up a little.
The LEDs, it gives off light when voltage is applied.
Okay.
The camera videos and capture images on the street where the system have been mounted and send it through the internet over Wi-Fi.
So it's like a cam recorder with a traffic light.
Yes.
Okay. Go on.
It also contains an LDR, which is light dependent resistor. This thing, it's dictated day and night. So when it's night or when there is a power outage, this system will turn on without anyone operating it. It's an automatic. So no one will be going to, for me, some of the streets like that I've seen, someone will be the one who is going to operate it or turn it on when there's power outage. But as for our own, by the use of light dependent resistor, it turns on and off automatically.
There are a lot of young women young children who are watching you right now between the ages of 8 and 11 who think that science, mathematics, technology and engineering are so, strange or not something they want to even explore. What can you tell them, having been in a competition like this and actually won or are part of the top winners? What would you say to young people watching you right now?
I will encourage them to take STEM subjects seriously.
Why?
Because at first we were not in our school, we don't even learn about STEM, only science. But when JSTEM brought these programs and we engage in STEM, we have seen that STEM education helped us a lot. If not JSTEM, I did not even thought that I was seeing the Minister of Education. But with JSTEM, I've seen a lot of people.
Why would you tell young people to take STEM seriously? I want you to have the chance to speak as well. Yeah.
Because you must learn to know how to talk in public.
Okay. Were you groomed? Were you coached? Did you have... I engaged your founder here 2 or 3 days ago, and she spoke about mentors who, coach you and assist you, show you how to create these things and how to even present them. It means that there was a time that you had to present your ideas to a panel of people who will judge, the things that you have created. How was that whole experience for you? And do you think that having those mentors was helpful in you getting here? Tell me a little more about that.
Our mentors and our coach, maybe at first we did not know how to market things, but our coach, our mentor, he let us see something or a theme, like a group of people marketing about their project. It was boys and girls. They create an ice cream and they were marketing about it, going to some place who will maybe win it. And the girls, they spent a lot of money inside. And the boys, as for the boys, they did not spend much money inside since they want to get theirs fast. But it was not tasty, so they did not get a lot of customers. But the girls won the boys. So our project, it's much expensive to have it. So when we were spending a lot of money, and he told us that maybe we want it by, as for the video or the film, we see it. Yes, so we want by maybe investing more money in it.
Do you think that you're now speaking better than you were before you joined GSTEP?
Yes.
Because you speak very well. You're able to communicate your ideas very well.
At first, the first day we came for the induction and they shared our coaches for us, they were asking questions and some of us were even shaking. We were not knowing how to talk in public. But as for now, there is good. We take it.
What about you, HL?
It's good.
What's the one thing that you think you've benefited from GSTEP, aside the 25,000 Ghana cedis that you have won?
It has exposed me to the use of STEM equipment.
Like what? Like which one?
Like the use of laptops for programming.
Right. Well, thank you so much. These are the second runners-up from the GSTEP Championship and Awards that was held yesterday by kind courtesy of GSTEP. Now, GSTEP is Ghana Science, Technology, Engineering, and again, that is Ghana Science and Tech Explorer Challenge, yes. And these are the second runners-up who've won 25,000 cedis from creating a traffic light. How do you call? What's the name of your device?
Smart Solar Security Street Light, in short, S4 lights.
You go, girl. That's good to know. Well, thank you so much for joining us. What are you going to do with the 25,000 cedis before we go?
Oh, we used to buy STEM equipment.
You keep saying STEM equipment. Like what?
Like maybe some of the STEM, the things we used in maybe producing our prototype, like the laptops for programming and the other stuff. Yes.
Well, congratulations. It feels good to be a winner. Yeah, keep it up. Don't let it end here, okay? All right, thank you all so much. That'll be all for the AM show. My name is Sweetie Abochi, and in the course of the show today, we did a news review with Dr. Michael Ayamga. Then we spoke to many correspondents across the country concerning tomorrow's NPP parliamentary primaries. And then now we have in the studio with us light bearers who are the second runners-up from the GSTEP challenge. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow, but keep watching Joy News because during the weekend tomorrow we'll bring you coverage on everything happening on the MPP parliamentary elections. My name is Sweetie Abochi and I'll see you next week Monday. Bye.